Oh my god. Hello, everybody. Welcome to What's Left of Us, the episode where everyone is present, as Ron said.
Yes.
Welcome to What's Left of Us, our actual play TTRPG show, where today we, like most days, we are playing Basements and Big Lizards. We are a group of nerdy friends who enjoy playing together on occasion. And that occasion is usually the last of the month. And congratulations, that is what is happening right now. It is last of the month today. The actual last of the month, actually, which is a rarity.
Wow.
I know. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Role-playing games are sometimes intense. There are themes that all of us at the table have agreed to where our lines and veils are, but of course you in the audience have not been able to do that. And so if you encounter anything, any sort of subject matter on this stream that you find you can't watch, please duck out and duck back in whenever you feel comfortable. Who we got here? In chat, I believe it is just us today, but if you might see our mod pronouns in my bio. That is Sam. Sam will be able to help you with anything you need aside from questions. Hold your questions, because at the end of the episode, we're going to do a table talk. And this month, it'll be a little bit more loaded because we had an episode in the middle of the month. And so if you have any questions based on that episode or this episode or any episodes previously, you may, of course, ask them about us then. In the meantime, however, any functional questions, Sam should be able to answer them. And if Sam, I can't remember, Sam might actually also not be here today. He said there was something that he had to do, and I was like, don't worry about it. We have Bob and me. So I will probably also be DMing chat in addition to this. We'll play it like a big West Marches campaign. Don't worry about it. We'll dip in and out.
Don't tell them the weak points.
Right? Sorry, by the way, if you hear me coughing, there's lots of smoke over top of Ottawa right now, and it sucks. And it has been smoke here for days, and it sucks badly. So it's okay. We'll be all right. I have my puffers. We're okay. I think aside from that, let me think. Is there anything else I missed? I don't think so. Everything that's live here goes on the pod immediately on our YouTube page, and that is hopefully where you're watching us, but there's probably some people watching us on our Twitch. If you are watching on our Twitch, don't subscribe. Twitch steals your money. We're all getting our money. If you want to support the stream monetarily at all, you don't have to, but if you want to, our Ko-Fi, there will be a link in the chat. And whenever you want. I think it'll happen randomly. Anyways, don't subscribe to Twitch. It's bad.
Don't give Beth Jesus your money.
Right. That being said, also, real quick, thank you mostly to Star's efforts streaming at her specific void. We are now at 640 subscribers on YouTube. If we get that number up to 1,000, we get full monetization on the channel. And that means that you all can support us without even paying us. All you have to do is get everyone you know to subscribe. Go into their house
money
while they're sleeping, turn on their TVs, and make them subscribe to our channel. All of them. It's like a pyramid scheme, except no one pays us anything.
And there's no pyramid. It's a D20 shape.
That's right.
We killed Zoe.
It's a community.
It's just me and Ron today.
I had just taken a drink of water. Oh my gosh.
Don't hydrate. You'll dihydrate.
Mm-hmm. And that is a threat. All right, everybody. The D4 scheme. Absolutely. Okay. I think that's everything. Does anyone have anything else to add at the opening of the show? No? Okay. Our two of our friends you may have noticed are not here. Jinx unfortunately got called away by a social obligation, and our dear friend Mildred had a house catastrophe. So if any of you are feeling particularly generous at the moment, if you can go over to patreon.com/thoughtslime and maybe support Mildo with a little bit of extra cash this month, because holy shit, their entire recording space got fucked up. It's terrible. It's one of those things where when I was in architecture school, they were like, hey, most of your job will be refitting old homes because of these problems. And it was one of the problems that Mildred had to deal with. A little bit of flooding in the basement with a carpet for some reason.
Oh no.
Yeah. Anyways, Mildred, we're our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Just for this episode, I will not slap Rathgurther as I originally had intended.
Yes.
I will wait.
Now, incidentally, in this episode, I expect that Rathgurther and Malders will both be asleep.
Yes, and then they'll get their special
we're gonna,
awkward dreamscape episode.
We're gonna trade off.
Yeah.
The demon you killed, you didn't really kill them. You just stuck them into someone else's dream, and it's like a horrible yo-yo back and forth. Okay.
Well, them's the shits, isn't it?
Right. Okay. So we'll pop on over to the map, and we'll get ready. Actually, you know what? I am already coughing quite a bit, so give me half a second. I'm gonna go take some Buckleys just to make sure I don't do that on camera very much. Why don't you folks entertain the audience for about 5 seconds while I
Here,
gulp down
I'll
some horrible stuff.
juggle.
Yeah.
I'm juggling. Can you see it? Can you
Wow,
see
that's
me
really
juggling?
impressive, I have to say.
Thank you. I practiced my
Yes.
whole life to make my juggling debut. Okay, he's gone. Quick. For all the Americans are here. We have to talk about how we're gonna get rid of the Canadians, and then we're gonna take over.
All right. I think that we should draft up a sternly worded letter.
Okay.
And then
Some sort of like we need to like declare our independence from them.
Yeah.
So maybe, I mean, let's like reconvene on maybe like the 4th and like draft some sort of like declaration.
Yeah.
Sounds
yeah.
good. Sounds good.
Call,
Yeah.
and
And we'll sign our names real big at the bottom.
real fucking big.
Yeah. Because we all know the one with like the
Because
biggest
we're
name gets like the biggest amount of power.
Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why John Hancock was notoriously the first American dictator. You know?
Yeah, the first ever phallus potato. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a joke with layers.
I also move that we change the name of the game from Basements and Big Lizards to Eagles and Mountaintops.
Oh hell yeah. Hell yeah, gamers.
Yep.
I mean, birds are. What,
Birds
Jesus,
do
how do I
are.
say this?
Yeah, okay, come on, keep going. Yeah.
It's been I have been editing literally all day.
Mhm.
Birds are descended
Okay.
from dinosaurs,
Okay.
and dinosaurs
Hmm.
are like dragons.
That is true.
True.
Dinosaurs are like dragons.
Zoe B 2023. Got a new merch
long
idea for
day.
you. It's like 2 p.m. where you live.
Oh shit, he's back.
Okay, everybody shut up about the Eagles. Hi,
What the hell's
Dave.
going on here, eh?
Nothing.
I have
Nothing.
said
Yeah.
only very smart things.
Very smart, very true things that have nothing to do with the Americans trying to take over the show. No.
Yeah, no, we were just teaching everybody a little bit of American history about how John Hancock was the first dictator because he signed his name the biggest on the Declaration of Independence.
And also how eagles are like dragons
Constitution.
because they're both kind of sort of like dinosaurs. So Eagles and Mountaintops is our new game that we're going to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Basements and Big Lizards. No more.
First of all, it's basements and beavers now, because
Oh,
I'm
well.
the tyrant.
There's
And-
no lizard.
Rebellion!
Beavers.
Rebellion! Rebelling against the Canadian
I was-
overlords. They're
I was
overlords.
gonna-
You
A
throw
Throw a bunch
mutiny.
of maple syrup into the harbor.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna suggest that you guys started the fire, maybe, but then I realized this
But
was
we
started in
didn't start
Quebec,
the
and so it was
fire.
probably just somebody smoking. Let's. It's always
all-
right to make fun of Quebecois. Always.
You hear the new Fall Out Boy song?
There are Italians. Let's.
In the new Fallout Boy song?
I'll DM it to you later.
Oh no.
They made a modern day iteration of We Didn't Start the Fire, and it just released like 2 or 3 days ago.
Uh,
Amazing.
People
I'm
debating on how good it actually is.
I am
Yeah.
I
certain
like
that there
Fall Out
is.
Boy, and I am skeptical. I have not heard
Yeah.
it, and I'm afraid.
The biggest critique that I've heard so far is that it's not in chronological order like the first one was.
oh, that's gonna be frustrating.
Well, Okay.
I will leave it. I've only listened to the little bits on TikTok, but you
I
know.
don't know that the original one is in chronological order either.
Apparently it is, because that's what everyone's mean comments about the song are saying. Anyway, basements and big lizards, or
Sorry.
eagles and mountaintops, or whatever the fuck we're playing now. I don't know.
No, it's all good.
Dams
I
and
got
beavers.
it. We're all right.
Shoots and ladders.
Shoots and ladders.
Wow.
Yeah. We'll just open up Tabletop Simulator instead of Tailspire, and we'll just play
Yeah.
old
Roll
timey
D20.
games.
But wait, we need some kind of reptilian thing, so we'll do snakes and ladders instead of shoots and ladders.
Oh!
If
It
we
was
need
right there and
reptilians,
I
why don't we
missed it.
just play Monopoly instead?
I want to like the people that we're playing with at the end of this game.
I've never played Monopoly, but I do run a business, so
I love that all of these people tuned in to watch us play D&D. Instead, we're doing a bunch of
I'm
social
so
commentary
sorry.
and show.
fucking around.
I know, it's so
It's
good.
the last day of Pride. What do you expect?
Yeah,
Last month next.
happy
Rawr.
Pride. For
Mm.
yeah, it was as far as I have seen, it was not a good Pride month. So let's move on to that Wrath month immediately, right?
Let's go.
Yeah,
Wrath month.
Wrath Girther month, exactly. Pride Wrath Girther month. So you're all Wrath Girther now. And nothing stymies the mighty Wrath Girther. Yeah, playing the part of Wrath Girther today will be me. Also playing the part of Maldrith today will be me. Also playing the part of Randy today will be me. Also playing the part of that other girl ghost that I keep forgetting the name of will be me. What did we say her name was again? It's because her name was different in my notes originally. And now I can't remember it all. And that's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
Oh, it's always bringing out the notes. Oh shit.
Oh.
Now, some people might not know this, but this is her 1,000-year-old notebook that she got from the originator of the English language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's going. Oh shit. We need dramatic music. Dun,
oh,
dun,
no.
dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
dun,
no.
dun, Research noises. Research noises.
Okay.
Terrell.
There
Terrell.
it is.
There it is. Thank you,
Ah.
Terrell.
Also, fuck off, Ron.
Shots fired.
Look, it's a cool artifact to have. I figured
This
you want
is-
people to know.
This is how it starts.
Maybe we
Okay.
should play Monopoly.
We'll work it in somehow. So, like Tim's already learning about taxes. It's only, it's a slippery slope from that to owning Boardwalk.
So, Jay, I was not here for last session. Would you like to tell me what happened?
Yes, absolutely. So the last month session, our regular show, the party decided to take a nap after all that had happened. So, they got the spooky message from the Raptor Lord, and they realized that he's probably pretty far away. So they took a long rest in the old monastery, which had been mostly destroyed by the volcanic ash, et cetera, but you found a safe place to bed down, and you did so. In the morning, two of the party did not wake up. Emery and Tim would not respond, and so the party hitched them to Sparks and or carried them as best they could, and they started making their way down the mountain when they were ambushed by a fey monstrosity of some sort, a creature that Maldris was understandably very upset to notice. It was the thing that had chased them out of the Feywild. And so the party made a mad scramble down the side of a goddamn mountain and was eventually caught in this location you're seeing here, on the way to the Mere of Dead Men, which is a marshland on the edge of the coast. Mostly because both Vernon and Rathgirther, after searching their brains, realized that there were some older settlements near and in the Mere of Dead Men that could, of course, be protected from Fey influence, like older settlements tended to be, because that was how things survived back then. And so they made a gamble. They decided that they were going to go all the way to the Mere of Dead Men instead of running all the way to Red Lark. Which, fair enough. Unfortunately, they were eventually caught by this creature, which was a Yeth Hound, and they proceeded to fight it. And then they won. And as soon as they had finished fighting, doesn't Tim and Emery wake up? Because In the intervening time, we had another episode, a bonus episode, episode 17.5, wherein I once again subjected my players to torment and trauma based on their past. And
Yay.
so it was a dreamscape episode where Emery and Tim had been trapped by a devil in one of Emery's dreams and were attempting to do things, and they learned a great many things about each other and some things about the nature of each other as well. And so that's some stuff to unpack and probably will happen at some point during this episode. But for right now, you have woken up to your partners being injured and a very dead creature wafting slowly into the ethereal plane before your eyes. This thing is the size of a dire wolf, but with the face of an old man. And yeah, we are now active and here.
Up from the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good, you're awake. Welcome back to the world of the living.
There's sparks.
Where?
Yeah,
What?
so yeah, you guys were like taking a bit of a nap there. Apparently the alarm clock was just a little bit I don't know how to describe it. You guys you were feeling lazy today or something like that. So you just like did not wake up, and we just went on this whole journey, just carrying you along like little Sherpas like we are. And yeah, we're going to the mirror of something or other, the dead, or I don't know.
Marsh, it's not important. I was able to carry you down all on my own.
Yeah. We had some shit too. What the fuck was that? She
Yeah,
points
so
like where
you-
the
so, like-
fog cloud was.
Yeah, Meldris says forwards and goes, that was a Yeth Hound. It was a servant of remember that guy who showed up from the back of my neck at the top of the mountain?
Yeah, that weird shit that we still need to unpack.
Yeah, well, he's a hunter, and that was one of his hounds, and we have to keep going before another one of his hounds find us.
Cool. Great.
Walk and talk?
We're all being hunted. Yeah, seems like.
I feel like this is the first time that any of you have seen Tim truly speechless. Literally just like brain going too fast. She like has so many questions that it's like
Mhm.
by the time she would start to ask one, the next one has popped into her head. So she's just like,
Come
okay,
on,
let's
Tim.
go.
Yeah.
I'm holding my hand down, helping you up.
Yeah. And obviously Sparks was like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
All right. So on you go. Who is going to be leading the party here?
Not me. I don't know where the fuck we are.
Yeah, no sense of direction.
Well, who has a good
I
survival?
will lead because good question. I was going to say I'll go because I apparently know the area.
Well, that's a good question.
don't know
I mean,
if
you
it's
do know the
survival is,
area.
though.
You would get
I have a
advantage.
+2.
So,
Yeah.
so yes, Ron. If Vernon leads, Vernon gets advantage because you know the area.
Okie dokie. So, yes, I guess let's continue onward this way. And Vernon just walks towards the bridge. Oh,
it's
it
the
looks
other
as
way.
if we have a bit of an impasse here.
That's the other way, my friend.
Hmm.
There you go. That's
What?
the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah, should he be the
Why
one
don't
leading,
you-
really?
Why don't you roll me survival with advantage, my friend?
Okay. I definitely know the way.
I'm not gonna love it.
Definitely know the way.
Oh,
All right, I got a
bud.
17.
Okay, with
17.
advantage is good. That's amazing. Perfect.
Yep.
I love it. All right.
Great start.
Oh, let's turn this up a little bit. Go. All right. So you folks begin walking down the road and start telling each other whatever you wish to tell each other. You're at a little bit of a quickened pace, but not like you're jogging anymore because the main threat has been gone and Maldorus can't hear any more creatures coming up from behind them or anything like that. Yes, hounds tend to announce themselves. So obviously, the first thing that happens at Redgirther accounts the tale of them sprinting down the mountainside, and of course, it is filled with wonderful metaphors and colorful language. It makes it sound like the Odyssey, frankly, and so that's that. Maldris gives a quick rejoinder as to what exactly is coming after you, or at least as far as they have been able to ascertain so far. They're being a little bit cagey about it, but as to be expected, Maldris is like that. Randy is berating them for holding back a little bit in terms of information, but obviously you all can't hear that. And you two, while you are talking, of course, there is many things to discover. Now, Tim, there's a lot for you to unravel here. This walk takes some time. It's probably going to be at least another hour or two before you even begin to see the real marshy parts. And there's going to be another hour or two after that. It'll be getting on to late night by the time you reach any sort of village. So, you meant only because you mentioned that Tim was trying to unravel some certain things here. What would you like to try and figure out while you are walking and talking?
I think the biggest question on her mind is whether or not it's a coincidence that both sections of the party fought extraplanar beings sort of at the same time. Like,
right.
What are the chances that we're both suddenly attacked by beings from other planes of existence or elsewhere?
That's pretty good.
So I think that's the biggest question.
Why don't you give me Arcana or Religion, whichever you'd like.
Probably Arcana.
Probably.
I thought that was a 1. It was a 7. So 15.
15. I think your immediate thought is that it's a little bit too disconnected for it to be a coincidence, but there is a thread there that if you had more time and a better roll, you might have been able to figure out.
I'm sure it's not I feel like it's not a coincidence, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, like on the surface, I think just immediately, these things are not particularly connected. Devils don't tend to work with the Fae. It's just not the way it works, and vice versa. However, there is a larger picture there that I think you are just on the edge of grasping.
Roll again. Think about it harder.
Yeah, I mean the question is do I roll do I keep it pursuing this line? I'm trying to think if there's any other pressing questions.
Well, I think okay, in terms of extraplanar stuff, since you are talking out loud in general about what's going on here, Vernon, if you want, you can offer some of your expertise and give her advantage on another roll. Oh,
I think
muted.
Foiled again.
Dang, the streamer's curse struck again.
Right.
Am I good now?
You are good now, yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
So what would Vernon know about this? I mean,
that's a good question. If you wish to lend to get advantage on Tim's next roll, if he rolls well, I'll tell you what Vernon knows.
Oh, absolutely. Then yes,
yeah.
I thought I was just making it up as I went along. I was like,
Yes, I know many things. For example,
things about this, the direction that we're heading in.
I love role playing characters that are smarter than or know more things rather than the people that are being played by.
With advantage, that's a 25.
A 25. Oh. There we go. Okay. While talking out loud about it's weird that this connection that your two extraplanar beings are with each other, I think, Vernon, you start to connect some dots of your own for a second. You know, the feelings you felt while you were in crab mode, for instance. We're gonna call it crab mode.
Activating crab mode. Beep boop.
Hey, they got goblin mode, so they might as well have crash mode too, you know.
And like just this weird connection, and like you guys being on the chew at the very beginning of this whole adventure, this sort of, there is a underlying theme with almost every one of you of messing with extra planar stuff. And I think as you offer that sort of information, Tim, suddenly like it just hits you, your
Rika.
yeah, Maldoris is running from a literal other plane of existence. Emery is trapped sort of in this in-between state with, from her time being in the astral instead of her spirit going to the ethereal where it should have gone. Rathgirther also seems to be some sort of cosmic mystery in and of herself. There's a small chance for that. Your parents, their research had to do something with the way the planes interacted, and now they're missing. And your dog is a living construct, something that people have not been able to do since, well, like the Warforged arrived on Faerun from another plane. Like they weren't from here. And so that itself was weird. And then of course there's Vernon, who is connected to an extraplanar being somehow, or is an extraplanar being. You're not sure. Like it's so strange. And all of a sudden it hits you. The world shouldn't be like this. The world should be everything you've read about the way the planes work, everything you've read about the way the gods work, everything you've read about the way that the planes interact and keep themselves solid. These sorts of things shouldn't be happening. It's like there are cracks and things are getting through. Unfortunately, without any extra proof, that's about all that you're getting through, but it is a theory.
I think she's immediately just gonna like stop as she has the, mind-blowing meme experience in her brain right now. And she's just gonna, hey guys?
Yep.
Yes.
I think that something's broken.
What, you snap a shoelace or something?
What? Oh no, no, not me. Everything. And I just immediately just explain the whole thing, and it all just comes flooding out. I think that there's something big, and it's everything.
Oh, good. All we have to fight
That
is
does
everything.
make sense.
I mean, are we sure that this isn't just some kind of weird coincidence? I mean,
Do you believe in coincidences?
I don't fucking know. But I mean, why would it all be centered on us? Like, who the fuck are we?
With a continued 25, when Emery says, "Who the fuck are we?" Tim, remember at the very end of your last stream, where you shared a little bit of that link with Emery?
Mm-hmm.
You experienced her rage. You also activated that, the big suck, as I like to call it.
The soul hole.
No, the
soul
soul hole is better than the big suck. I will accept the soul hole. The big suck is a terrible name for it.
With 2 C's. That's with 2 C's, chat. Get out there.
No.
Spread the word.
No.
No.
I think, first of all, you had never felt anything like that before. And this is riding on your 25 because you had done so well. I don't want to make you have to roll this again. It's exposition time. And so when she says, "Who the fuck are we?" you realize that that thing that you realized at the end of the last dream, that this wasn't some act of the gods, this wasn't some curse, this wasn't anything like that. This was good old-fashioned mortal rage. It's just something about the way she was forced into it gave her this ability. And the reason why you notice that is because when you shared the link and you were angry, the anger was something you hadn't felt before, but it was still familiar. It was satisfying in a way that it was like you were angry at your parents, but you couldn't have been that angry because you were Tim. You were trying to be that good kid that you were raised to be, more or less, right? But the difference between you and Emery specifically is that because you had never felt that angry before, it felt kind of good to let loose a little bit. Whereas Emery was actively fighting the impulse. Right? Now, this doesn't really connect up to why everything was happening, but Emery has an ability that very few people have because of what happened to her, and that can't be a coincidence on top of everything else that happened.
Who the fuck are we? Who the fuck are you?
Wow, that's pretty deep, I gotta say.
Yeah, real philosophical, but like that doesn't strengthen your argument, really.
I mean, it should. I mean, listen, I'm trying to say that you are so special. How can that not be? We're all. I don't know how to explain it. I just know it.
Well, listen, what happened to me doesn't have anything to do with what happened to everybody else here. We just met on a freaking train. Like that's
yes, on a train that went through planes.
Yeah, because some there was some shit there, sure, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. Fuck, what, you think we're like tied together in some kind of cosmic destiny because we shared a really bad train ride or something? My shit had been fucked up long before that.
Yes, so maybe we're not connected, but we found each other and we all have these experiences and we're all going through similar stuff, and that I don't think we should ignore that.
Tim is right. We were all going through certain changes. 2 of us have transformed into monsters right in the middle of combat. I myself am turning into a mushroom who will still be the mighty Rathgurther, regardless.
Yes.
And, well, Maldris is mysterious in their own way. Maldris is just like, okay. All right. I mean, I talked to ghosts. Is that not cool enough?
You're very cool, Maldris.
That is very cool. I kind of wish I could do that.
Right.
So it's like it's not necessarily that that it's like a predestination type thing. I think it's more that we all just have had this stuff happen to us, and it's proof of something bigger.
Like what?
There's something.
Tim, you think you would need your parents' equipment if you wanted to really figure this out empirically?
Yeah, I know there's something broken. I know there's something wrong, but I can't see it yet. And I think I'll need some special equipment to do that. And so is this equipment that would be back at the clock tower, or that her parents have with her or with them?
So the cool part about your dream is that you gained some information there, but not you specifically. Emery did. Emery, when you were peeking in on what her parents were saying, now it's a little difficult. Dreams are always a little bit unstable, and some things will be taken from the lens of the person dreaming rather than anything else. However, Tim, being as analytical as she is, you know that at least the specific details of the dream are probably correct. You know the route they were taking. You also know that the clock tower was an integral part of the machinery involved with whatever they were studying. You don't know what it was, but you know that it stopped working, and that the big reason they were going out was to check all of their equipment that was scattered about the Sword Coast.
I mean, what? Like the equipment you had in your parents' like lab? That's what we saw in that dream, right? That's what that place was.
Oh yeah, that's where I grew up. That's where I spent literally my entire life.
Did the clock noises ever annoy you?
What? No,
Like
it's does your own heartbeat ever annoy you?
sometimes.
Oh.
You ever like work too hard and then your heart beats really hard and you're just like, shut the fuck up, I'm working. And no, okay, well, whatever. Anyway, there was like a map of like all the places they were going. I mean, in the dream, did you see that too?
I mean, I knew they had like I mean, they never took me with them. I mean,
They were
like,
talking about
a
like
couple
all the
times, but not
equipment
on
that
their.
they had to go check.
Yeah, they didn't take me on their like big important trips, so I like ignored it a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Tim, that once Emery starts speaking up like this, you're aware that the clock itself was some sort of very important mechanism that was the end result of the experiment. If your parents went out to check the other equipment, that equipment was what made the clock tower itself work.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think if we can remember all the places. I know Tim does not remember the list. I have them all written down, but Tim probably doesn't remember because she wasn't listening. But if we can remember all the places that they said they were going to go, I think we can find some stuff there. And then, I mean, the tower was sort of my like base of operations where I would do all my inventing and stuff. So, I mean, I know we have like a long list of other stuff to do, and I know that like other people's stuff is more important, but I would really appreciate if we could maybe go find the stuff and do the things.
Well, I mean, where are we about now? This is in character, but also out of character. Like, because Emery would remember, like, at least some of the spots. Like,
you are very
Mirror
close.
of Dead Men. Are we close to any of the places?
The Mirror of Dead Men connects up to eventually the Tribord Trail, which runs east-west all the way to Tribord itself, and then over to a place called Yartar, and then back to the Great Forest. Or you could continue north and go to Neverwinter if you wanted to. That is an option. But it's another biggish town.
We were just in Veloso, right?
You were, yeah.
And that was on the list.
It was, yeah.
But there wasn't anything there.
You didn't look.
Oh, shit.
Back up the volcano!
We're going to go back this time.
Shoot, I just realized I forgot my keys.
Beans, back up the volcano.
I mean, it's a possibility that your parents also made it to this part of the Sword Coast where you're in right now. At the very least to get supplies, but like they never, as astute as your parents were, sometimes they also did misplace things, and they like remember it on the way and be like, oh, that's right, we also had like this thing out in the Mirror of Dead Men, maybe like, so, you know, it's a possibility that while they were going out, they also deviated from their path a little bit as they remembered like, oh, I left this wrench over in the marsh, I need that. And so like, yeah, extreme ADHD moments, like, you know, they just completely forget until they see the place. But yeah, it makes sense because if the clock tower was really to work, then they would need like a loop of devices. And from the sounds of things, they had a loop inside of a loop, right?
Yeah, because they had like the ring around the high forest.
Mm-hmm. And then it seems like a greater ring that stretched into the Sword Coast. It's like they were looking for something with their devices. So,
because I know that we discovered that it was like powered by the Feywild.
Yeah, at least that's what it got drawn down to. Yeah.
So I'll make sure I will share all of the information that Tim at least remembers. And so like again, like we don't have to do it right now. This is just it's just a keep it in our brains for later.
Mm-hmm.
So we should keep an eye out for any errant tools that we might see on our journey.
I mean like big like contraption-y machine type stuff.
Should be easy enough.
Yeah, I think
Between all
like giant
however many eyes
microscopes
we have here.
and like wrenches that are like as big as me.
Yeah, like what exactly were your parents studying? I mean, were they studying this kind of like weird plane shit?
Well, you know all the like robot people that were in Waterdeep when we were there?
Yeah.
They built those.
Okay.
Like that's what they do. They like build like constructs that can help people with stuff, and they build like that's the clock tower was a construction, not like a physical construction, like a magic like arcane construction that they made to I don't know what all they were doing, but like part of it was to keep me safe. And it was it was our home, and so they make stuff to help people and to do tasks for them.
Okay, but then what do they have equipment out in the middle of the wilderness for?
To help. So like the way I understand it, and again, like they never really let me look at their schematics. It was just like I like snuck peeks and stuff at it. But they had to make this like ring of machines to power the one on the inside. And so because it's I think she's struggling to find a way to explain it in a way that makes sense. So like like you need it's like a it's like a battery or like a focus.
Okay.
And so they're using the ring around it to focus the energy, and that's what the clock tower was for. But again, I don't really know what all they were up to because they didn't include me in a lot of stuff.
Emery, you're remembering just as Tim says, they didn't include me in a lot of stuff in that particular way. You're remembering her dream dad just not looking at her, and
yeah, I'm still pissed off about that. Yeah, Tim, so if you don't know a lot about what they were studying, why are you chasing after it to try and do you really think it would be useful to figure out this whole plane stuff you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean that's like I think it's related. I mean I knew that they were studying planes and that there was something with like the Feywild and like that was like an energy source or like it protect. I don't really understand the relationship, but I know that like the planes were important to what they were doing.
And you think that what they were studying has something to do with us now?
Yes. And even if it's not like directly related, I think it could at least like help us learn more things about what we're dealing with.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm still not entirely convinced that this is some cosmic connected thing. I think that maybe we just have problems.
I mean,
and
the great thing about science is that it's true whether you believe it or not. So you are welcome to believe whatever you want.
Hold on,
but the evidence is there.
I can't hear what Tim is saying to me.
Oh no, the headphones finally died. For those of you at home,
God damn it.
When we started this, just before we hit the live button, Star was like, "Oh no, my headphones are making the low battery beep at me."
It's literally been beeping at me this whole time. I thought it would survive until break. I'm listening to you guys on my speakers now. I hope there's not an echo.
No, I can't hear anything.
Okay, cool.
I can't either.
Beautiful.
Apologies.
It's all good. Okay, so I think at this point you have definitely reached the Marsh's edge now, and it is you're getting much more into darkness now, but there's a definitive road. There are like mid flies and stuff like that buzzing around your head, and it's unpleasant in general to be here. But you can see off in the distance there are lights. There is a village just inside the marsh, which is what you were basically aiming for. Maldris is like that. I mean, if anything has a chance to be protected from Fae, that looks like a type of village that might be. And I think Vernon, at this point, you would probably pipe up that yes, this village is very old, because
This village is in fact extremely old.
Yeah, you have been here before, actually.
Yes, way back in my youth, which was a considerable amount of time ago.
Yeah.
My
Me too.
features belie my age.
Actually, Vernon, and this is just for you, but I'll say it to everybody because it's nice and suspenseful. Your very first memory is walking out of this swamp as a boy.
Ah. Yes, this is my old stomping grounds. In fact.
Vernon, could you also give me a history check real quick?
Sure. Also, can I maybe have him survey the skyline as we walk through here to see if maybe he sees any of these weird, like, I don't know, any of these weird constructions that like Tim's parents might have left along the way? I don't know if we have that kind of a view.
I mean, yeah, you could all make a
Let's, like,
perception
look
check
up
just
and, like,
to
look
see if
around
you're out.
and-
Yeah, see what's up. Yeah, you can all make perception checks
while
as
we're
well.
talking about it.
But I need you to make a history check as well.
Okay, so for perception, I got a 7. Yeah, I got a 7 on that. And for
Fancy
what was the other one again?
History.
History. I'm sorry. Yeah, that one I got a 6. Man, these dice hate me.
A 6, man. So good.
We
Yeah.
across all of us, we made 4 dice rolls, all of them 8 or below.
That's so
What are the
I'm gonna
chances?
start using,
so
I'm gonna start
good.
using my real dice.
Dice saith no.
So I don't think you particularly remember with a 6. I mean, it's not exactly a difficult roll, but with a 6, I don't think you remember particularly anything important about the like the Mayor of Dead Men has been here for a long time. It is generally people don't like to live near it or around it because it has some issues, but like the people who do live here have been in the community for quite some time, just rough, ragged survivors sort of deal, right? You all have about an hour or so walk to get to the lights that you're seeing in the distance, and a small slog through part of the mire as well. So congratulations on that. That means you have one more round of untangling the things that you have all learned from the last episodes. So who would like to start first?
My final question, I was saving it. I want to see what I can infer about dream sparks.
Ah.
And like that, like what the fuck any of that meant for like
Okay.
any of that, as much information as I can get about that.
Tim's
So what is
notes
that?
just say Sparks, WTF, circled.
Did you tell the rest of the party about Sparks? Dream Sparks?
Probably
Probably.
not in like super detail, but a like, he
Okay.
like talked like he because he started to say a couple words now, but it was like so much more, and like it was like we like had a whole conversation, and he was so insightful.
Right.
But not much more
yeah.
than that, probably.
I think Vernon, once again, because of your vocation, I think you have heard some stories that might help. So once again, Tim, if you want to, you can make a religion check with advantage, or you can make an arcane check without advantage.
Religion check with advantage, I think. I still have a +5, which is pretty good. Ooh, 21.
21 is not bad. You're talking about this, and Vernon, you're immediately brought to. one of the cons you were pulling a long time ago was that you were pretending to be like an adjunct professor to some like small private college in Waterdeep, and you had of course had to attend a whole bunch of lectures on stuff, and one of them was the mechanics of the upper planes, which was like an attempt by some professors to talk about the divine but in an arcane way. And the professor who was leading that bit, Professor Shell, was specifically discussing the way extraplanar beings, especially from the upper and lower planes, live disconnected from time. And so to them, everything happens at all moments. And so it doesn't really matter when their start point was in the material plane, because once they ascend, if they are a creature that has indeed ascended as opposed to being created in the upper or lower planes, they can become completely unmoored, right? So you can have, they talk, Shell talked specifically about the god Lathander, who had been a mortal beforehand. So he has a definitive start point about when he was born and when he ascended, right? But as a god, he transcends time. And so he was technically always the god Lathander, even before he was born as a mortal. And so that's the sort of mechanics that you remember sitting through, right? Time gets weird in the upper and lower planes. The Feywild is just a tiny taste of that sort of thing. And so you, while talking about this professor that you sat in and listened to as you were pretending to be an academic and probably getting a fair bit of coin on that particular front, until you realize that adjunct professors don't get paid very well. And
yeah, who really got scammed here?
Right. It's one of those scams. You're just like, I don't think I'll ever go back. Oh, it's successful, but only just, you know.
Yeah.
That was way easier when you were a conservative talk radio host. And then,
of course, yes, my old call tag Moloch Bones.
Yes, I love it. Okay, and then Tim, that makes you think of a couple of your experience about religion is only once again academic in nature. I can't remember. Did he say what he was? Did Dreamspark say what he was called currently, just that it was nice to hear you call him Sparks again?
I think that's all he said. I'm looking through my notes and I don't see anything else.
Okay.
No, I see two names, but I think those are both demons or devils. Because there's Thargus, who's definitely the Bone Devil, and then there's Ontalax.
Yeah, that was
which is also
referring to the devil that was destroyed by Emery. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Body got yoinked.
Body got yoinked. The first thing it makes you think of is that there is an upper plane for mechanical beings. It's called Mechanist, and it's the plane of law, essentially. And it's a plane that is very it's dominated by mechanical beings called Modrons for the most part, but of course there are a whole bunch of beings because it's a celestial plane, right? It's a celestial plane of existence. And so the other thing is that it could not have been a simple servant of the upper planes that visited you in your dreams, because lower and upper plane creatures have to reach a certain power level, as it were, if I'm going to use like a fucking Dragon Ball term. Like they have to be strong enough to do things like enter the dreams of mortals in this way, manipulate events to their will, and then of course break in to an obviously powerful lower plane being's whole dream state. Like that means he has to be a bigger creature. And there's only like 3 things that you have studied about that could be that. One is just a straight up angelic being of the upper planes. You don't know what one from Mechanist would have looked like, but I mean, it was taking a dream, guys, so it could have looked like anything at this point. Another is an inevitable, An inevitable is a servant of the plane of law specifically. They reinforce contracts, like the universal contracts, things that die should stay dead. And so generally what happens is one of these beings gets conscripted to tackle a very certain breach of one of these universal laws, and then they pursue that until it is fulfilled, because they are basically unkillable. That's why they're called inevitables. Yeah, they're higher plane terminators, basically.
Jeez.
And
This is so fucking cool.
I know, right? And the very last
I hope
thing
we
it
talk
could
with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
possibly be is one of the gods themselves.
Dog is God spelled backwards.
So,
There is that.
Jay, is this all robot dogs go to heaven? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, that was the impetus of this story.
Yes.
Robot dog heaven specifically. Oh.
Oh, I can't handle this. Okay.
Right?
I'm gonna keep that information to myself.
Yeah, absolutely. You would have to speak to somebody who is actually knowledgeable and trained in religion in order to get a little bit more information on this, but
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like if Emery was having a hard time believing that maybe like there was some plain fuckery happening, I feel like telling her, "Hey, also my dog is a god," would be a bit much.
It's dog spelled backwards.
It is.
You misspelled okay,
Right.
so like
Now
you
that's a
wrote
conspiracy
out
she could get
summoning
behind.
runes and you just had a little bit of a little oopsie and you spelled dog
Whoops.
backwards and you summoned a god instead into your dog body. It happens to the best of us. Just a little oopsie
Sparks
doodle.
We all make
McBarks is
oopsie
actually Sparks McBarks, the mechanical dog that was created on robot on edibles.
Yep.
Yeah, marijuana edibles. I definitely landed that joke.
right?
Uh,
I thought it was good. It
Bobby
was cute.
Duke.
All right, that's
Sparks is
my
the star of the channel, let's
Okay.
be real.
Yeah, so I think that's, aside from maybe some things you now know about Emery based on the dreams that you were in there, I think that that's all you could discover while you're walking around, or at least it's all you have time for. Emery, did you want to untangle something while you're walking?
I mean, she's probably just trying to like figure out exactly what she has learned and what the fuck she gets to do about it now.
Mhm.
Because because Tim was the one who figured out that her whole rage thing is just that she's pissed off. There's nothing else special there.
Right.
In theory.
Yeah.
I remember the last time she went into sicko mode. You said something about there being like a little like kind of mote of that darkness still kind of like lingering on her chest. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
She's gonna look. Is that still there? Or did
Yeah.
it fade over time?
No, it's still there. It's just kind of like
Because
hovering there.
Yeah, because I feel like that is still probably concerning her.
Mhm.
Because if it's just normal, she is that pissed off, then what the fuck is this, though?
Mhm.
And so she's probably like, she's not talking out loud, she's just very in her own
Yeah.
thoughts as she's walking, probably.
Are you wondering things about yourself or about the condition?
A little bit of both, probably.
Okay. Then why don't you give me either an insight or an arcana? Up to you.
Okay. Based on, like, she's trying to kind of suss stuff out, probably an arcana check, I would assume.
Sure, yeah.
And my arcana rolls are better anyway. Pacha! Ooh, that's a dirty 20.
Nice. Okay. You were sitting there thinking, any sort of effect this is having has to do with the ritual that was used to tear your soul out. Absolutely has to be that way. But there is something interacting with it that is likely making it worse. When Tim spoke about the nature of what was going on and how she felt that it was, this was just you. This was just you being angry, really, at the end of the day. This wasn't some curse or some god touch or some quirk of like deep, you are fated to be the one sort of thing. No, this is just you being angry. The people who took your soul out didn't care where it landed, and that's why you ended up in the astral instead of the ethereal. It also means that the first place they thought to chuck you, absent-mindedly, was the astral. And that's a piece of a puzzle you can figure out in a minute. But primarily, you have always fought to keep your anger in check. And it hasn't been working lately, and that sort of thing is having some sort of... You can feel it. When you're done your rage, you feel sick. You know? You feel weak.
So some sort of cosmic glitch between... There was like a side effect of the soul yeeting.
It's sort of like you are disconnected with yourself on a very personal level.
Huh. Interesting. Like a disconnect, like it's because the soul and the body don't go together, and there's something fucking up there, or
with a 20, I think you think it's deeper than that. Absolutely, there has to be some side effect to the fact that you're sitting in a literal devil's body, but it's in the way you are not comfortable thinking of yourself as Amelia. You are not comfortable with the rage that you are feeling. You are not comfortable with any of this stuff. You're just like rejecting these big core parts of yourself. And while normally that just results in someone being like anxious and depressed, you had your soul ripped out by an eldritch ritual and you were cast into the deep astral sea. That sort of thing has implications.
I know we just got through saying that, but here's the thing. I feel like once it starts to get too big in her head, she's going to stop thinking about it because it got too big and now she doesn't want to think about it anymore.
Gotcha.
Is the thing is like, oh, well, maybe there's something bigger going on. Nope. That's too big.
Self-introspection? No, thank you.
No, thank you. I guess from there, she would probably move on to, okay, this is the fault of whoever yeeted my soul out of my body. I don't really feel like I'm any closer to knowing anything about that, though. I mean, Tim was the one who saw the stuff. Did she say anything based on what she saw?
Yes, I definitely would have told you something about the children and that they're near Red Larch. There's an effigy of a crab.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's kind of strengthening stuff that she sort of already knew.
Right.
Red Larch is new, but...
one of the biggest things you would have found out from the dream of that particular bit was that the people who were operating in this way and the people who did the ritual specifically seem to have been like a hidden faction inside the children. And so you think that if you were to, for instance, investigate the children, you'd have to find the right group, and then you'd have to find the people in that group, because it looks like they shield themselves with all these innocent people that are basically just taking advantage of their more community-based aspects of their group.
Great. Well, I know they will operate out of Waterdeep, at least.
That's right. You also learned one more thing from Tim's side of things. Anyway, I don't know if Tim said it, but the conversation with your uncle and that robed figure in the alleyway. I don't know if you would have told her that or not.
Probably while we're talking. I guess if we're going over all of the dream details, Tim will use her encyclopedic memory to relay all of the things.
Right.
Yeah, some deals being discussed, something about she's standing in his way. That's all I have written down.
Because, I mean, I think there was maybe, like, some amount of her that, like, suspected her uncle of being involved in something, but at the same time, they fucking made him the fall guy, and he was going to be put to death, so, like, that was kind of pushing it back, and then hearing that from Tim, that, like, he definitely didn't want to go through with whatever this was, that is also pushing it back, so this kind of, like, helps her trust her uncle a little bit more. He's not fucking here, there's nothing she can do about it right now, but she has some questions for him when she finds him again eventually.
Right. Excellent. Okay, now, here's the other thing. So because Tim has been relaying all this stuff, Vernon, you have some chance to untangle things as well, because this stuff also affects you. And sorry for being so exposition heavy at the moment, but this is the way things are at the moment. Because big stuff happened last episode. So, you hear 2 mentions of people in robes, and the children specifically. There are some things you remember Granny talking about. Granny is a weird case. Because she is both a very important figure in the children's hierarchy, but also she seems to be somewhat of an outcast. Like, it seems like she has her position the way she is, and so the people in the children can't really kick her out. But it seems that she's very much not liked by certain people. When you visited Lemmy House in Waterdeep, you remember, like, the people at the very top were very different from the people who were sleeping in the corridor down at the bottom of the shop. And it's not like you remember Granny being particularly empathetic with people who were like sleeping on the streets and stuff like that. She seems to be very much the same sort of manipulative personality as these people are. But it seems like they don't like each other very much for some reason. Why don't, if you would like, give me a history check, and I'll tell you some things that you might remember.
Okay.
Not going to be particularly difficult. I don't think. Oh, you would get with advantage, sorry, because everyone's been talking about stuff.
Oh, okay. First roll's an 18.
That's not
And
bad.
the second roll is a 20. Hey,
Oh,
look
shit.
at that. My dice came
Nice.
back.
Okay.
Hey.
Now, you weren't paying attention at the time, but you do remember Granny talking about the group of people who run the Waterdeep sect. They're rash. She talks about them being too quick to do things, too quick to take big risks, right? She always, it's not like she disapproved of the things they were doing. It was more like she disapproved of the way they were going about it. You know that she's more or less a fanatic in terms of what the children believe, whereas she doesn't. You get the impression from what she was saying that these people leading the other sect of the children aren't as fanatical. They don't believe in the arthropod as much as she does, right? However, they have means and motive for stuff like that. The mention of the other robed figure talking to Ulrich is reminds you of somebody that Granny said she has someone who worked very closely with some rich folk who are the movers and shakers in Waterdeep. Some sort of person that she had that was an advisor who often fed her information. So that is something that you're pretty, with a 20, you're pretty sure that you're connecting some dots, right?
Mhm.
And lastly, you know that the Waterdavian sect leaders are not above a little bit of murder to get what they want.
Okay, that's a lot to take in. Wowee.
Yeah.
Vernon is starting to have some suspicions about Emery's uncle. Just because he's wealthy and
At the same time, you have now reached the swamp village.
yes.
Oh my god.
It's a swamp. Great.
Yeah.
Swamp town. Town in a swamp.
Guys, be
Utah.
careful. Be careful. There's wild Shreks about. You don't want to be caught out here.
Fairy tale
They get
creatures.
very upset.
You had to slog through a bunch of mud, and it was dark, and there is like here, wait a second here, let me get everybody on board. You know, and there's mosquitoes and midge flies, and it's just like you step off the path onto the duck boards and you instantly stink into like a bunch of mud. Where's Maldris? Maldris, where are you? And then, of course, Spark. Sorry, buddy. There you are. Marsh is obviously not having a good time. But anyways, you are in a swamp town. The atmosphere in this place is not exactly what you would expect. A lot of border towns out here in the wilderness have walls. This place doesn't even have palisades. They're living in the swamp deep enough that you expect that they don't get raiders very often. There's probably not anything of value to steal here. As soon as you come in, even though it's nighttime, there are some watchmen that are just kind of walking around with a lantern, and they go, hello, and they welcome you back in, and they get you through, and they pull you through the mud, and they get you onto the duck boards, and they bring you over to the inn, which is the, like, sort of a cultural center of town. This
place
is
is moist.
it is
Ugh,
it is
mud.
hot and sticky
Folks wouldn't
here.
happen to have a laundromat, would you?
Right. It's no, we just do our washing straight out here with all the water we can get. You know, it's a nice place. It's you know, we can get water straight from the mangroves here if you need them, and it's nice and filtered. It's a little bit salty sometimes when you go out further into the swamp there.
This place is so cool.
Of course, Tim loves it.
Right.
Everybody's fucking miserable.
There's so much mud and sticks and stuff.
How is that cool? Mud sucks. Mosquitoes fucking suck.
You make stuff with mud and sticks.
I don't often make any sort of a mention of my appearance, but moisture makes my hair more fluffy than it needs to be.
You were the one who
me
wanted to go
too.
here instead of Red Larch.
Rathgirther's hair is just it's just lots of humidity.
God,
Tim is gonna
that's
take
the
some
case Emery
sticks.
probably is too.
Yeah.
And like
Just
poop her hair out.
I think the both of you are very committed to this. Like you're right now, you're broing out a little bit. You know, that's the like Emery, Rathgirther, terrible humid hair. Yeah.
Yep.
I think as you come into this place for the night and you pull in, I think we're going to take a bit of a break because it is 3:15, and we can take about a 5-10 minute break for water and stuff. And we will be right back, folks. So don't go anywhere. We're just going to take a quick break. All right. And when we come back, we'll see what we're doing in this swamp town. Don't go
Being
anywhere.
miserable, that's what we're doing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you all had a good break. We did as well. I refilled the air in my lungs. I'm good to go. Got a canister that I filled me up with in the back.
Propane?
Oh, propane and oxygen and oxygen accessories.
Woo!
So I need that guy from the Lorax. I need like bottled air. I need O'Hare.
You need the guy from Spaceballs.
I'm the
you know, where
O'Hare
he's like,
delivery
"Carry
guy."
air," cracks open a can. No.
Carrier. Yes, absolutely. Ah, delicious. Okay, you are all in a swamp town. I think if you folks don't want to do too much exploring, you guys can literally go right to sleep and have a long rest, should you wish.
Yes.
We already had a long rest. We had a super long rest.
Super long rest. For everybody like Vernon, for instance, who might be a little bit injured from the fight, this is your chance to take a long rest.
That's the great thing about fighting in dreams.
Right? But aside from being able to use phenomenal dream powers, which was fun. So when you all wake up in the morning, aside from obviously facing a lot of hospitality, this place is a little weird. They don't there are some private rooms which they gave you for the evening, but for the most part everyone kind of like, you notice that a lot of people just kind of sleep in the inn. Just in the same area. There are lots of hammocks set up with like mosquito nets over top of them and stuff like that. And you notice a lot of your rooms are the same way. They kind of like expect everyone's going to be sleeping in like a communal spot. And so like, even though the rooms are private, they have like 3 or 4 hammocks set up in them already. And like comfy like pillows on the floor and stuff like that. And there's all like, there's mosquito nets all over the place and spare mosquito nets like hanging on the wall. So they're prepared for this sort of thing, right? And there's no like, all the windows don't have glass in them. They have wooden shutters, but they don't have glass in them because like there's not that sort of place, right? That being said,
I think Tim is going to have slept in the communal area.
Yeah.
Because she's never had a slumber party before, and this is what she imagines it's like.
Yeah. There's
I think that Vernon did not sleep at all because he was worried about what would happen if he fell asleep.
Oh, yes, okay. I got you.
Because
then you're going
when
to
he falls asleep, he goes into crab mode.
Why don't you take a point of exhaustion then? You're gonna stay up?
Sure.
I feel like Emery would probably also stay up a little bit just because, one, fucking mosquitoes. I'll just put it on the record. She's a rich bitch. She grew up in the nobility. She's used to like fancy lodgings and all this stuff. And like, yeah, they've been camping, but you know, that was acceptable. This place is full of mosquitoes. The windows don't have any kind of barrier to keep the mosquitoes out. And she can hear them and they're buzzing around.
Oh yeah, and like midge flies and yeah.
Yeah. Very brief story. When I lived in Japan, they had a real mosquito problem over there. I got super good at grabbing them out of the air in the dark without looking because they're buzzing so loud you can tell where they are just by listening to them. And like every single night, I'd hear like and just grab it out of the air, slam it down onto the bed, and go back to sleep.
Star is an actual ninja, confirmed.
Yeah. I feel like Emery would just be like trying to smack him with her tail or something. And she's just like grumpy and she's like got her arms crossed and she can't sleep because she was asleep for most of the day. And now her sleep schedule's all fucked up. But this place fucking sucks and now she's all on edge and her thoughts are running crazy. She's just not having it.
Right. I think especially Tim, because you're out in the common area, there is always some sort of music going on. Even at night when people are sleeping, there's like somebody who's like one of the elves who lives here who just doesn't need to sleep like that all that often. And as soon as, everyone's kind of asleep, there's just like a slow kind of like sleeping song, as it were. And there's just someone always doing something musical in the village. And in the morning when you all wake up, Maldris looks around real quick and they notice immediately that, there's protections in this town against space incursion. There's a couple of bundles of nails, iron nails wrapped and put over the doorway of every building that you have seen. And there are staves, warding staves, placed into the ground, into the muck every couple of feet around the edge of the perimeter. You are safe as long as you are in this swamp town. So here's the idea. This is the first time you all have had a chance to have some downtime if you want it. If you would like, you can take a week and have a downtime here and all level up actually to level 5, where you should be. And also do a downtime activity if you wish.
Are we already level 5?
Yeah, I kind of sort of soft leveled you up while you were on Velasco. So some of you haven't really finished that. If you want to, you can do so now.
I see.
I mean, Emery's restless. You would definitely be doing some kind of just training.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Vernon.
Absolutely. So yes, you can all level yourselves up to level 5, which means you are going to be taking a 10-day. For 10 days, you will be doing something here. Let's start with Vernon because he's a little bit more. Something is a little bit more with Vernon while he's here. Vernon, do you continue not to sleep as much as possible?
Yes, but only because I really don't want to like incur any kind of like penalty against. I don't want to get us kicked out of town. I don't want to like cause there to be an uproar. You know, there's a crab man running around.
Yeah.
So yes,
I
he's
think,
going to try his best to stay awake.
Yeah. So I think the first thing you notice is that you do get tired. You do get very like that sort of tired you get when you have been up for 13 hours straight and like just haven't thought to go to sleep yet, and you're thinking maybe I should go to sleep, but I'm not going to. You never get more tired than that. You stay at one point of exhaustion, and you never get more than that, even though you do not sleep the entire 10 days.
Wow.
Now, in terms
All
of
right.
downtime activity, what would you like to do?
I think that Vernon would like to go and find the little part of the land where like he remembers walking out of like for the first time. See what's there.
Let's call
Why
this.
that's so important.
Yeah. Let's call this a little bit of research, but you're going to be doing it in terms of other things. Why don't you do me a survival check, please?
Sure, and that's a disadvantage, right?
No, you could do it with advantage because you're taking your time doing this. You're doing this over the 10 days.
Oh, okay. 13.
13? Okay. Yeah. So the rest of you notice that Vernon takes these little forays into the swamp occasionally. Unless you're doing it at night, which you know is probably, Vernon, you would probably know that it's not a smart idea. There are creatures that live in this swamp that are capable of just destroying you if you're on your own. However, most of them are nocturnal, and so you feel a little bit easier during the daytime. So I don't know if anyone goes with you ever. I'm asking.
I might follow him at some point if I get suspicious enough.
Yeah. Henry, just roll me a d20 and tell me what you get. Just
Sure.
don't add anything. I just want to.
8.
8? Okay. On this particular day, you are not following Vernon into the swamp. He is going into an area that you already know is very midgy, and you don't. You're already in the middle of. You're on the cusp of learning something new with your training anyway. So
She sees him and is like, "Where the fuck's he going?" Like, kind of goes and peeks. And is like, "Nah, fuck it. He can go get bitten by mosquitoes. I don't give a shit."
Yeah. But yeah, Vernon, you go into this area of the swamp that is they're just thick mangrove trees. You can tell that people don't come here because it is just so friggin' difficult to get in here. But you haven't looked around here yet, and you figured you might as well try. So you get in there, and it's difficult, and you have to avoid some like gator-filled areas and stuff like that. But you eventually come to a small clearing, and it is very small clearing. It's like enough that you could probably like maybe 10 feet in total, right? But it's a clearing because there is a stone standing in the middle, just straight upright, and it is weathered, but you can see a clear carving of a big crab on the front of it.
This seems like the place.
It is carved from I say standing stone, but it's not really a stone. You realize as you get closer that it's actually carved from the dead trunk of an old mangrove, like an ancient mangrove, and its root burrows come into the ground, and at the very base of it, you notice like this cavity that looks a little bit like there had been something in there, like a big egg or something like that, but it's just not there anymore. Why don't you give me an investigation check if you're curious?
Absolutely, I am. So let's take a look here. Investigation. Blah. I got 4, unless that's also with advantage, but I don't think it is.
I mean, you could make it with advantage because you're spending your time here, so I don't see why it wouldn't be with advantage.
Okay, let's see if the dice are a little bit kinder to me. 17. That's a little bit nicer.
There you go. I think with a little bit more plotting around the area, you find a lot of these mangrove trees are they're growing on top of foundations for older buildings that used to be here. This is an older village that is and it is quite old. I think the only thing that's really survives is there's a lot of stonework that survives, like the stone foundations themselves, but there are like evidence of where wood used to be, and then some wood that has been aged quite a lot as to be almost if it wasn't in a swamp, it would be petrified, probably.
All right.
But as far as you know, like the only reason you came in here is because you remembered that when you struggled out of the swamp when you were a boy, you came out of an area that was pretty dense with mangroves.
Oh, place is a little bit smaller than I remember. I guess this is it.
Is there anything else you'd like to do while you're here?
Can it's so you said stone foundation, so it's nothing like there's nothing under the water or anything. So if I wanted Verdant to like go for a dip, let's say, and see what might be in like in the water, like in the
I'm saying your investigation covered like sticking your head underwater and looking at the foundations that are sunk under the ground now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The only thing of real prominence is that pillar with the carved crab on it.
Okay. Is the trunk like, I know you said it's like dead, but like is there a way to like look inside of it, or is it just like cut off, like just there's rings?
It's like cut off. Yeah, it's cut off. It is sort of hollowed out, but the mangrove, like even old mangroves, are kind of thin. Like you can look in, there's hollow. You could probably have gotten in when you were tiny, but like the burrow where the root system spread out from is really the most significant cavity you're seeing.
I'd like to try a knock on it just to see what happens.
Do you knock? Sounds like wood. It is very old. It is extremely old.
Okay. Can I try to see if there's like anything magical here?
You can make me an Arcana check if you'd like. This was supposed to be a straight
I just
roll,
figured there
though.
has to be something out here. Okay, that's 11.
Yeah, it's 11. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's probably something magical going on here. Like you reach out with the little bit of your senses that you have attuned to as a caster, and you can feel something going on here. The problem is, it's just so tired. Right? You haven't slept.
Okay. Maybe I lay down and I take a nap.
You gonna take a nap right here? You gonna take a little nap?
Yeah, of course.
Oh
yeah,
my goodness!
Where my
gators.
you know,
Surely nothing will go wrong.
Right next to this
nothing
tree?
bad can
Amazing.
happen. Yeah, I mean it just
A
feels
crab
so
man
comfortable
taking
here,
a
like-
nap next to a
Yeah.
crab carved.
It reminds me of my mother, who I never knew.
Yeah.
Just in theory.
Okay. Why don't... Let's see, how much... Give me a charisma saving throw.
Charisma saving throw. Interesting.
Crab nap. Yes.
Very interesting. Where's that? Yes. Crab nap. Oh shit. I clicked the wrong thing. Bam.
It's what you do after the crab rave.
That's right.
9.
She did a crab
9.
nap.
Okay. So you were going to be less
believe-
in control of this than you would. It's not like you're very close to being a modicum of control here, so I think this is going to be a more friendly rejoinder. You fall asleep immediately. Your point of exhaustion is gone. You wake up and you are in the same spot, except the mangroves are part of a small village. There are buildings here. Slight stone foundations with up on piers and with rooftop made of overlapping tied together mangrove leaves and reeds. There are people walking around. This place is familiar to you. You recognize it. And standing beside you is a gigantic crab made of stars. It is about your size, and you're just standing there with it, and it just seems to be looking there, just kind of like moving its all, just looking back and forth like it's relaxed.
Hello. That's hi. How are you? This is kind of odd, but like, what am I doing here? How did I get here? This was just a marsh before.
You're dreaming.
Dreaming. Okay. It doesn't feel like my normal dreams. Normally when I dream, something ominous happens, but this just feels like not as ominous. I don't know how else to put it.
I don't. What is ominous?
Kind of like it's bad. Like you got a bad feeling. Like
we don't have,
you know,
we don't have nightmares. It's not for us.
Oh, that's strange. Well, who are you anyway? If you don't mind me asking, I didn't catch your name.
Do you often ask so many questions of yourself?
Yes, frequently. Wait. Are you saying that you're me and I am you?
Well, I thought that would be obvious.
I mean, dreams can be kind of esoteric sometimes, not necessarily.
Vernon, you get a quick flash of remembering the first time you changed, when you won over your charisma saving throw in that battle and took control. You remember that giant crab floating in the far distance of the astral sea, you moving your hand and the claw moving with you.
Never mind. This all makes sense now. And then we both think of our favorite song, which is obviously like some kind of polka tune.
I like to rave.
Yes. The crab rave, but it's the polka cover. And they both start doing like a dance.
Absolutely. But you're back where we started dreaming.
Wow, that's crazy. I never would have thought I would, have made it so far. It seems so far off, like when I did this the last time.
Oh, it's been a while. Huh. You stopped dreaming for some reason for a while. I'm not sure why. But when we came back, this place wasn't here anymore. I'm not really sure what you dreamed that made it stop, but
well, maybe I'll have to build a second base of operations here. I could probably bring some of the children to help out whenever we get done with this venture.
Is that what you want?
Couldn't hurt. Give me some independence from Granny.
Hard to know what to want. It's so small here.
Yeah. I feel like we could expand it a little. Chop down some trees there, clear out some brush there.
I mean, these people, and he gestures to the village, and there are people moving around, and you notice they're all wearing these big crab necklaces made up of actual crabs.
That's so cool. Where can I get one of those?
Right? And he says, I mean, these people are the whole reason we even know this place exists. We would have been dreaming out in the endless sea forever if it wasn't for them. They want us to come here, and I suppose I could, but this place is so small, so they brought a piece of us,
I don't think I quite understand what you're getting at here, but yes, it is kind of small. Maybe I could just make it a house for myself, my own private refuge. I could live in 10 feet. Enough space
Just
to lay
you?
down.
Your dream includes many others.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't think we need to expand it for the dream people, would we? They seem
If
to
you
be
don't-
operating just fine.
If you don't think those people need to exist anymore, they don't have to.
Oh, I didn't say that necessarily.
Hmm.
I guess we could go over the pros and cons some other time. For
I mean,
now, I mean, dreams aren't really.
Listen, you know more about this place than I do, and together we are something more, but I could go either way, and I am... When I'm talking to you, I get so hungry.
Okay, well, I know that when that happens, then bad things happen. So maybe and I know the last time we did this, we disemboweled a guy. So maybe this time
Yes.
instead, what if I just went
Yeah.
and I had like a sandwich? Like I know they make some great like
I don't-
bog hog
I don't
sandwiches.
normally hunger, you understand, but having parts of me be mortal is... Anyways, if you don't want to eat, perhaps you should wake up. And Vernon, at the sentence, perhaps you should wake up, suddenly the image shifts, and the village is on fire, and there is a person's arm sticking out of your mouth. And then you wake up,
Ooh.
and the village is back to being sunken debris, being eaten slowly by the swamp.
Well, that was fucked up. Last time I ever take an edible before walking out into the swamp.
You shouldn't have licked that frog, Vernon. It's
He's just eating Skeetos. He's
Right.
getting
Yeah.
madness.
There's something in those skeeters, I tell you.
and I hate to move on from that, but I am going to leave you hanging because it's fun for me. And then we're gonna go. Let's go to Emery. Emery, you are, for your downtime, you are mostly training,
Mm.
and I think at some point you get a message from your trainer,
Which one?
the knight in the magical knight in Waterdeep that you had
Waterdeep?
met.
Greta?
Yeah, Greta. Thank you. And she messages you to see how you are progressing and to ask if you had completed any deeds, which was the whole point of you going out and exploring.
Mm. Well, she doesn't know that we kind of left town
Yes.
under duress.
Right? No, she does not.
She just knows. I mean, from her perspective, it was I just kind of fucked off one day.
Right, but
Didn't
she
tell
kind of
her
also
anything.
told you to fuck off too. She was like, "No, go out and do stuff. This is the whole point of being an Eldritch Knight. You have to be a knight."
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do I have like a phone connection with her, or is this like a sending spell where I
Yeah,
only get
it's
25
sort of
words?
like an extended sending spell. She's using an item to broadcast more or less. So you have an open line of communication for a minute.
Okay. I mean, yeah, saved a bunch of people from a volcano, I guess.
Ah. All right. Well, there are some things that you should know about Waterdeep if you are going to be heading back this way.
Has something happened?
A minor dispute. There is some sort of succession crisis about to kick off, as far as I know.
What do you mean exactly? Like what?
One of the noble houses, when one of them gets too old, they start talking about who is going to succeed.
Okay. What's being said?
Just that very soon, a particular leader of one of the houses will be dead, and their children will have to inherit. Or perhaps the uncle, but he is currently a fugitive, so I don't know how they are going to get that away.
Shit. I'm not anywhere near town right now.
I am only mentioning it because you seem to have had an interest in this family.
Yeah, kinda. thanks for the heads up.
Not a problem.
She's just like, just kind of expletives a little bit, trying to hide it under her breath, but Greta can maybe hear it depending on how good the mic is on the spell.
In my brain, you're just talking directly to my brain. So.
Oh, well, fuck.
But in
was kinda-
terms of your training, still, if you are continuing,
Yeah, I mean,
are you nearby? Are you nearby? There's a swamp near that mountain. Do you happen to be nearby it?
yeah, we're there. We've been there for a couple of days just because
Right.
stuff.
We
We might be hunkered down here for a while, but God,
Oh, that is good.
it's not the best. If there's shit happening in Waterdeep, we need to get back there. But I need to get back there. But oh,
I think it
God.
would probably have a slow burn, if I'm honest. The old man isn't quite dead yet, so
I'm just worried about what happens after.
oh, it probably won't be too bad. You know, there's not exactly going to be fighting in the street. But I mentioned the swamp specifically because there is a small town there that has been troubled by a creature for some time. The Knightly Order hasn't had a chance to send someone there for quite some time, so perhaps you will be able to find what this creature is and force it to some kind of conclusion, no?
Sorry, I know it's just now I'm all thinking about Waterdeep stuff, but I mean, the others are going to want to stay here for a little longer probably, but
Would you like me to look into this further?
I don't know.
I am allowed in some richer circles than most. I could perhaps find more information for you. Eldritch Knights do not run off. We are not your standard fighters on half a brain. We research, we get information first, and then we act.
Yeah, I've never been good at that though.
Well, part of your training then.
It's like defusing a bomb with a live bomb. Practicing defusing a bomb with a live bomb. I feel like I'm kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. And I don't know what... I guess see what you can figure out. See what you hear, any rumors or anything.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find.
Thank
In the
you.
meantime, I need you to try and start weaving more spells into your attack.
Easier said than done.
Is I think the end of the conversation is basically her giving you some pointers on how to do that.
Mm.
And so now, in addition to leveling up, Emery,
Mm-hmm.
you are allowed to use one of your attack actions to cast a spell instead of taking an entire action to cast a spell.
Ooh, boy! Hell yeah! Let's go, gamers!
Because the Eldritch Knight could have been balanced like that in the first place, wizards. Anyways.
Wait.
Mhm.
For base, okay, so D&D is made by Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
And we just call them wizards collectively. For
Mhm.
basements and big lizards, do we just call them the lizards?
The lizards. The lizards need to get it right.
Get it
The lizard
together,
wizard.
fucking hell.
The mocking will continue until you actually start doing something good, you fucks. Anyways.
Ayo! Sick
Okay.
burn!
So, in addition to your training, unless your training is the entirety of your downtime activity, would you like to do anything else?
I mean, I guess go figure out what this fucking creature is, because now she's all antsy.
All right. Go ahead and give me an investigation
Plot
check.
hook!
Yeah,
What kind of check?
investigation.
Oh, that's a nat 1, bud.
Woo! I think the only thing that you managed because of all the mosquitoes, the only thing you managed to actually find out is because one day you notice that everyone in the village is like more shiny usually than sweat alone would allow. And so I think you just ask somebody someday, like, hey, what's going on? Like, why aren't the mosquitoes eating you guys? And the answer is they have a tonic that they use that is mostly made of this really foul smelling oil that they brush on themselves every day. And it keeps the mosquitoes away.
Oh, so that's not just general swamp smell.
That's our own creation. You know, we make it right here in the swamp. And then we brush it on ourselves. And it makes the mosquitoes go away.
Uh-huh. Where do you get that?
Oh, you want it? It's right there at the inn. They give you a whole bottle.
How bad does it smell?
It is quite clear that part of the creation process is ammonia.
Mm.
And so it smells a little bit like urine.
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah.
I think she'll maybe get some, but she does not put it on herself. She's just like, I'm not quite that desperate yet, I don't think.
I see. We'll see how long you hold off. All right.
Ugh.
We'll leave it at that. And then Tim, your downtime activity.
I have two things I want to do.
Yeah.
The first one, as per our spreadsheet,
Yes.
I would like to, well, first of all, Tim fucking loves this place, loves the people, just wants to hang out with them all the time. She thinks it's so cool here. But as she is like, you know, playing in the mud and doing her like arcane creations using the power of imagination, with all of these building materials that are around her, she is like, oh, I know what I can do. And she gathers some materials, including some daggers that she has, and she is going to give Sparks some horns, and she is going to specifically model them after Emery's horns.
Aw. Cute.
So he has horns. And for everyone who does not have access to the spreadsheet, which is everyone, if Sparks moves at least 10 feet in a round, he can make an extra attack that does 1d6 piercing damage, +1 for every 5 feet moved before attacking, and then they must make a DC 15 strength save or be knocked prone. So he gets to ram people. How does he look? Is it the cutest?
It is obviously the cutest. It's a puppo with horns curling back. You know.
Yes.
It's good stuff. You know.
So that is number one. Number two.
Mm.
Can I befriend a frog and have it travel with? Can I get a pet frog?
You want to get a pet frog? Yeah, you can attempt. Go ahead and give me an animal handling check.
Can Sparks give me advantage on this?
I don't think so. I'm sorry.
But he's so intimidating. He scares all the frogs out, and then I catch one, and then I befriend it.
I mean, catching one is easy. I think within the 10-day, you absolutely have a frog. It is a matter of training it that is the hard part.
Well, that's a nat 20.
Oh, shit. Okay.
The most important role of my life.
Yeah. So it helps. It helps very much that the frogs here are like super lazy. Like they don't have to even like the place is so thick with mosquitoes and flies and stuff. They don't have to move much to actually get food. And so I think like you just literally walk up and pick one up and it just like goes, and then you like put it in a container basically, and you rig up a little like backpack terrarium for yourself, more or less. And I think you have trained it inside of the 10-day. You have trained it to just. It didn't move much to begin with, but you've trained it to stop wiggling around so much because, like, you have fed it a nice steady diet, and it is very unconcerned with its lot in life at the moment. So, at the very least, you have a pet frog.
Yes.
Nice.
I'll come up with a name before the next session, but I don't have one off the top of my head because I just thought of it like 30 seconds before you asked me what I wanted to do.
Gotcha.
And that's it.
All right, so Sparks now has horns. Got you. I've marked it on the sheet. Yes, perfect, awesome. I can't think of anything else that you might want to do during your 10-day. Any of you. So Vernon, you learned something core about who you are. Tim got a frog, and Emery learned how to cast a little bit more spells while weaving in and out of her attack.
And is also now very antsy to get back to Waterdeep.
Yeah. I think here. What else can we do? Okay. So, Emery, you wanted to look around the town. So I think at the end of your 10-day, that was the thing you did on your own. But if you asked anybody else for extra help at the end of this 10-day, I'll let you roll your investigation again with advantage because the rest of the party would help you.
I think I would have maybe casually mentioned it. It's like, yeah, I got a call from my trainer earlier. She said something about a creature, but like I haven't seen any or heard anything about that. Just like casually mention it to the rest of the group.
That's neat. Look at the horns. Do you like his horns?
Yeah, dogs don't usually have horns.
No.
Do you like a demon dog?
Well, I mean, I modeled them after your horns because they're just so cool.
Oh.
Why don't you use your horns to stab people?
Because I have swords.
That's true. Yeah, longer reach. Makes sense. Look at this frog I got.
Yup. That is a frog.
Anyway, I think we should, like, stay here.
Well, I mean, we can't stay here forever. We have other shit to do.
Yeah, but, like, we can come back a lot. And then, like, once we figure out, like, all the stuff that's going on, we can, like, live here forever.
Sure. Maybe you can do that.
Anyway, what were you? There's like a monster? A creature?
Yeah, Greta sent something about some kind of fucking creature, but I mean, I haven't seen any evidence of anything or heard about anything, so I don't know what it is. She didn't really give me a whole lot of details.
Yeah, I guess like after that, Tim would probably spend just a little bit of time just
Looking around.
you know, nosing around. Yeah.
All right. Emery, you can make your investigation check with advantage again.
Let's go. Oh, with advantage, I'm gonna roll 2d20s at once.
Believe
Wow.
in you.
Okay, well, one's a 5, and the other ended up nestled on top of all my other dice, and I couldn't see what the number was.
Yay!
And another nat 1!
Wow.
Yay! I mean, +2, the 5 becomes a 7.
I think people in town get a little annoyed with how you're running into them and be like, hey, is there a creature?
Is there like a fucking, like, what's the problem?
And so I think at some point someone goes, ask the old lady at the end of the shop there. She's got her own house. She'll tell you what you want to know. I'm asking everybody.
Cool,
Making everybody
yeah,
all itchy.
whatever.
Also,
Turn
Tim
her-
has definitely like slathered herself in the
Oh, yeah.
pea oil.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Uh,
Yeah, and you're not getting bitten. It's amazing.
Emery's just like a little itchy everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Made herself a cape out of the mosquito netting. But yeah,
you can keep my frog on you. He'll like zap the mosquitoes out of the air if you like carry him like on your shoulder.
is that working?
I mean, I don't know because I use the oil, so you can. If you carry him around, he'll at least like eat some of them. Probably. I don't know.
You put him on your shoulder?
I'm good. Let's go talk to some old lady at the end of the street.
Yeah. So you go to this this shack. You guess that this is the equivalent of this town's mayor, basically. Like, you don't think they really elect people necessarily, but like everyone kind of defers to this person. It's clear that they give this person a respectable distance. And you know, you knock on the door and she goes, "Enter."
Hi, heard you had a creature problem.
Oh, hello. You see this lady, she's actually quite tall, for being an elderly woman. She's got a shawl on, she's a little bit hunched, with age, you know, her place is a little bit covered in moss here and there, because she can't really get around to get everything. But you imagine that if she were to stand, not hunched, she would be easily about as tall as, maybe not quite Rathgirther height, but getting close to it. You know, she's like, "Oh, we've got a lot of things going on in the town here. What are you talking? What specifically are you looking for?"
I don't know. I got a call from my teacher in Waterdeep, and she said that y'all had some kind of creature issue, and I guess she intended me to try and help with that.
Oh yes, of course, yes. There's a thing out in the swamp that sometimes. Well, we got a deal worked out where it doesn't come into the town, and we don't go into the swamp. But the swamp has a lot of things that we would like to utilize, and we just haven't been able to go out there for some time now. It would be nice if maybe either somebody went out there and bargained for a better deal, or maybe just got rid of the thing, you know?
What kind of thing is it?
Oh, it's a dragon.
Ah.
He's made his home out in the swamp there, and he thinks it's his place. And he likes it there.
What kind of dragon?
Oh, you know, it's got horns, and it lives in the swamp, and it spits like this corrosive stuff, you know, and it's all black and shiny.
Sounds pleasant.
I mean, it is not an uncivilized creature. He talks. It talks to us sometimes. We trade whenever it needs something, but never when we need something, because it's a dragon. You know?
Uh-huh. What kind of stuff is in the swamp that you need so badly?
Well, first, there's a lot of iron out there that we could get, and that would, of course, let us trade a little more, and then we could get a little bit more stuff here. We have somebody here who used to forge quite wonderful items, but we don't have the access to the iron no more, and so that's where that is. And then, of course, there's more food. There's a lot of algae that we could farm out there, and there's mango trees that we could make use of, and we're just not allowed.
Okay.
You know, we could be more prosperous. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you, but. Fucking dragon, really? Oh god. Greta, why did you give me this plot hook?
Because you're a knight and you literally need to slay a dragon or something.
I mean, she does speak Draconic, but fuck.
I think she would prefer the or something.
Listen, we're not. Again, this dragon isn't like just some beast. This is a person with like beliefs and thoughts and stuff. It's fine if we just come up with a better deal, but he doesn't respect anybody here, and so he doesn't deal with us really. Comes when he wants something,
so he's
and that's
a bitch, is what you're saying.
Well, I would be careful not to cuss so much in my presence, if you please. But yes, absolutely, that is what I would say were I in less couth company.
I mean, think of it like the fire elemental, you know? Like we talked to it, we figured out how to deal with it. It's the same thing.
Oh. If you talk to fire elementals, then maybe this is exactly what you. the village will be greatly in your debt. Maybe perhaps even the blacksmith will be able to do something, you know? Except now that Star has mysteriously disappeared, I I think maybe her
Yeah,
cats
it
have
looks like,
pressed the power button on her TV again, on her computer again. And
No, I still see and hear. Oh no, there.
Oh, now she's gone.
yeah, that's well.
And Emery died.
Oh,
There
wait,
she
no,
is.
she's back.
There was like a weird connection blip, and then Jay just disappeared, but I could still see and hear the other you guys, and I was just like,
Amazing.
"What the fuck happened?"
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. So at
I
the
didn't
end
catch
of
that last 30 seconds.
yeah, it's just mostly like they're just talking about the dragon still and how they're like a creature. They just
Yeah, and we can
Yeah.
talk to it the same way we talk to the fire elemental, and it'll be great.
oh.
Fine. It'll be
It is
fine.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
Vernon, also, I think you would mark that this lady has a necklace with a little tiny crab built into it, made out of actual crab. Just a little crab. Shell.
That's a very interesting little medallion you got there. Where did you get it?
Oh, this thing. This is the religion of my forefathers, right here in this swamp.
No kidding.
Yeah. We are all the children of the mighty arthropod. Not many in the village practice the religion anymore, but you know, old habits die hard. You know, my daddy was a child, and I am a child, and his grandmother was a child, and her great grandmother was a child, going back generations and generations.
That's
Emery
fascinating. I had no idea that the group had such a wide influence.
immediately on edge.
Well, there's more children out there. I thought the swamp was the only place left.
No, it's very prominent in, well, I mean prominent enough in some places.
Oh, that warms the heart.
It might be different
It
than
does.
the way y'all are here. I don't know.
Vernon?
Yes.
How much do you know about this arthropod thing?
And that's
Well, I mean,
where we're
I
gonna
have been
end it
around.
for this
Oh,
month,
you
everybody.
Son of a bitch!
I was fucking waiting for you to ask.
She's just like, wait,
Okay.
Vernon's been here talking for a long time. What does he know?
All right, everybody.
Oh.
We are going to take a quick 5 to 10 minute break, and then we are going to come right back for your questions. We are going to ask questions. It would help me. I'll tell you how you're going to do it later in a minute. So yeah, we're going to take a quick minute. We're going to use the washroom, get drinks and everything like that. You should all do it too. You have been watching us for about 2 hours now, and we are going to be right back. So don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the couch. This is our table talk without a table, but with lots of talking, where we talk about the what happened in the last episode or any episode really, where we take questions from you folks in the chat about anything we have been doing, and of course from us to each other. If you are in chat, it would help me if you started your question by labeling the word question or Q and then typing your question. I'll be able to see it much easier and hopefully be able to put it up on the screen if my widget is working again, which it does not very often. But please, ask away and we will try to answer as best we can. And while we wait for audience questions to come in, who wants to ask a question first? Among us.
Among Us.
Okay, so
Well,
what are y'all's ideas for what I should name my frog?
It should
I was
rhyme
thinking
with farts.
Frogger.
You should name him Farts.
I was thinking Beeper.
I
Beeper?
like that idea. Beepers.
Why is that itch in my brain? Is that a character from something?
I don't think
don't
it
think
might
so.
be, but like
I mean, it's
beep
a
is just a
synonym
good
for pager.
noise.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Beeper.
I'll think of something for you. I come up with weird
Yeah,
names all the time.
We're pun royalty,
That-
so
That
yeah.
says Ribot. That's when
That's
when the frog that's when the frog
in
inevitably dies and Tim makes like a little tiny frog construct.
Inevitably? How dare you?
Everything dies, Zoe. It's the circle of
Sparks
life.
will never die.
Yeah, except your
true.
dog. Never
You already
mind.
know Sparks will never die. Isn't that interesting? Oh, we have a question already? That's amazing. Okay. Fire Drake.
Right.
Vicky. Ron, what's your backup character for when Emery kills Vernon?
Yeah, Ron.
That's a great question. His name is Peter Thunderlover. His big thing, he really likes horns.
No, isn't it? Or is it not? I can't remember.
That's that stupid NPC from our private game. That fucking
Yeah.
loves thunder a whole lot, if you know what I
A
mean.
lot. Let me tell you something. He's never been to the swamp before, but that doesn't mean that he won't show up for, a little bit of a storm.
Amazing.
We have to
It's
talk about how we keep coming up with stupid NPCs.
so much.
That reminds me of a thing
yeah.
I'd like to plug at the end, but that's
Yeah?
later.
Yes, yeah, we'll absolutely plug that in. We'll do all our plugs at the end. Calamity Artist is asking, not related to the episode, but how did all of you get into D&D? We'll start with Ronald.
Oh, that's a good question. So, about 3, maybe 4 years ago now, my friend asked me to play Pathfinder, and I had never played a role-playing game prior to that. And I was like, yeah, no, I'd love to. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. I was really worried because, like, I had never done it. I was like, this is going to be, like, a lot of math. I'm very bad at math. And then we got into it, and as I got more comfortable, it was a little bit easier. And then I started watching, like, what do you call it there? The Critical Role. You know, that show that's worse than us?
the role that is
You know,
yeah,
the
the one that's
podcast
just below.
where
It's
they
a
came
small
up before
channel.
us?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
reminds me, folks,
you guys may not
you
have
should-
heard of it before.
Yeah, go follow Critical Role. They're really suffering over there.
Yeah.
They might need the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also like listened to Dice Funk and stuff. And then one day I just saw that like I think it was either Zoe put out the message saying that like, hey, does anybody want to join a D&D campaign that's going to stream? I was like, yes, I would love to. And then she passed me along to Jay, and Jay was like, yeah, you seem cool enough, I guess. And then here we are. I'm playing an actual D&D game with my friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
Star?
Yes. So the prologue of me getting into D&D is my group of friends that I ran with, my little friend group in college. They all played D&D together. We had a gamers guild club at our college, and they all went and played together, and one of our friends was the DM. I think they played what would have been out. This was before 5th edition, though, but they definitely played
Probably
D&D.
3.5. It was extremely popular.
This would have been in like 2012, 2013-ish.
I mean, it could have been 4th ed, but I think it's more likely to have been 3.5.
I remember the one mechanics thing I remember them bitching about is having to confirm crits.
That was 4th edition. That's
Okay,
fun.
and then they played 4th edition.
Yeah.
And they all hated the crits thing.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Because yeah, apparently in 4th edition, if you roll a 20, you have to roll again to confirm the critical, and you have to roll 2 20s in a row to get a crit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which I guess would make them rarer, but still, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, it was not great.
But yeah, so they all had that game together. I never joined them because I was, wow, shocker, too fucking busy. But I remember, like, at some point I would, like, a handful of times I, like, sat in on their sessions, and at one point my roommate at the time dragged me in to be an NPC for, like, 5 minutes. But that was about it. And then after I graduated in, like, 2016, I got really addicted to the Adventure Zone. And after I caught up on that, I let that simmer in my brain for a few years, and then I actually started watching Critical Role because I knew some friends who were like involved in the show, kind of, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
They were like guests on Talks Machina a long time ago, and that was like the first time, like their guest episode was like the first time I ever watched it. And then I was just like, okay, I know that this is a thing that exists. And then at some point when I was living in Japan, which would have been around like 2018, I think, is when I started watching Critical Role Campaign 2. And then I started getting interested in it, and then I started DMing myself because my friend group, that same group from the group in college that all played together, they were like, oh man, I miss playing D&D. I wish we could still play D&D. And then when it came time to actually like decide who was gonna GM and all this other stuff, there was just cricket. And then me was just like, well, I've never played before, but I've listened to enough Adventure Zone and Critical Role that I could probably figure this shit out. So I did. And then, and now it has consumed my life.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that just the way?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Zoe?
So my dad was a huge fucking nerd. I guess is a huge fucking nerd. But he is how I got introduced to D&D, because when I was like 7, his brother came over, my uncle came to visit, and they decided to just play a little D&D game. And of course this was like original, like, because they, you know, growing up in the 80s. And so, like, he made a character for me, and I didn't understand any of it, and I fell asleep after, like, half an hour. And that was my first experience with D&D. But then in college, or sort of like between college and grad school, my husband, some of his friends wanted to play D&D. And I had like always wanted to get back into D&D because I was like, it's fun in theory. I just, you know, did never get to actually play it. And so once his friends wanted to play it, he was like, fine, I'll DM, and like it can be a whole thing. So we started it, and he actually loves DMing. He is the forever DM, but he actually really, really enjoys it. And that's that. And now he is still our DM in our home game. And that's it.
Unsurprisingly to anybody else, I was a big old nerd in high school. And so absolutely, my friends were playing D&D, and they asked me to play. And I did play, and it was fun. And so I kept doing it. I fell off the D&D bandwagon for a bit in terms of, like, I started playing other games. There was, like, D20 Modern and GURPS and Fate. And I haven't touched really Fate until recently, but, like, I had heard about it for a while. Mutants and Masterminds and stuff like that, right? And then when D&D 5e came out, more specifically when D&D Beyond came out as a peripheral for it, it allowed me to kind of like keep all of the various threads in my head better. And so I was able to just kind of like the reason why we're playing a D&D game here now on this stream is because of D&D Beyond. Otherwise, I would have probably picked another system. And when we're done this story, we will transfer into a different system because obviously D&D has a lot of baggage that is not so good. And obviously, it's not the only one with a D&D Beyond like peripheral now. So that's all. Accessibility forever. But yeah, so that's why. And I'm a forever DM myself. At my height, I was running something like 9 games at the same time. And I'm still running something like 4, I think. Maybe 5? I can't remember now. They're very intermittent, is the point. So yes, that is how much I love running RPGs. It's very fun. I enjoy it. Storytelling as a medium with friends is probably one of the nicest things you could ever do. I love it forever. I could go on forever about why I love storytelling. So let's just move on to the next question. Let's see here. My lovely wife Rose is asking if Vernon's favorite song is Rock Lobster, which it is obviously Crab Rave,
Yes.
but
Crab Rave.
oh shit.
Well, okay. If we're talking about classic rock, then yes, Rock Lobster.
Mhm.
If we're talking more modern stuff, then of course Crab Rave. Crab Rave,
Crab Rave. Crab Rave.
especially the Crab Rave. It's the most beautiful Crab Rave you've ever seen.
It's all
especially
good.
the polka variation.
Med and Math asked how much would be involved in making Beeper Tim's familiar. Honestly, if Tim get the find familiar spell, we could work it in that Beeper becomes your familiar for that. But like aside from that, it's just a pet. Like it's just a frog. He's just the swampy bullfrog. Like he's not a, you know.
I just want him to be my friend.
Yeah. Make me familiar though, he'll be undying, as it were.
I genuinely, like, above table, I fucking love frogs and toads. Since we moved down here to North Carolina, we have just toads all over the fucking place. Like, literally in the evening, when we're taking our dog out to go potty before bedtime, there are just toads, just like in the yard, just like half a dozen toads.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out, and I love them so much.
Good stuff.
You know, another thing you could do in theory is you could do the thing where if we defeat the dragon, if we decide to fight it or something, you could just turn it into a toad. Be like, the evil has been vanquished, just like in that movie that I can't remember what it was.
Cabin in the Woods.
I'm in the woods.
That's the one.
Yep.
Because that's like the one scene that always gets memed on, and I
Yeah.
enjoy that movie.
Yeah.
It's very silly.
It's very
It's a
silly.
wonderful movie.
The evil has
Also-
been
I've
defeated.
only seen it one time, which
Two-
is still
two-
one more than I've seen Pacific Rim.
My Molly. She's mad because I'm trying to cuddle with her because she keeps jumping up on my desk and getting in the way of my motion capture. But she doesn't want to be hugged. My 2 cents I just wanted to say is the way you said like swampy bullfrog made it sound like a Pikmin enemy. Because that's where my brain has been lately.
There are frogs in
It's
Pikmin.
like the exact cadence of how a Pikmin enemy would be named, and I'm like,
Swampy bullfrog.
I gotta throw my little guys at it.
They're all gonna
And
die.
yes, Fire Drake in chat. My dog is afraid of the toads, and we are glad because don't let your dogs eat toads.
Bad.
That's my
Bad.
PSA.
Do any of you have questions for each other? Because there's a bit of a lull in the chat questions now, so that's a good chance for some of you to ask questions to each other. Pardon me.
We gonna fight the dragon or what? We're gonna talk to it. Because, like, Emery can speak Draconic, that's a thing. But,
Yeah, I feel like, just going by like my perspective, talking to it first might be the way to go.
I agree. Also, again, above the table, my first ever PC death was because of a black dragon. So, I have a bad track record with black dragons.
I wonder if that was
It's
a
that
conscious
acid shit.
decision by the DM.
Jay, you wouldn't.
I mean, it's a good coincidence, really. There's canonically a black dragon living in the Mirror of Dead Men, so I was just like, okay, that works. Also, I was always probably afraid of it. That's
Yeah, just don't let the party line up in a perfect line for that acid breath.
Everybody
Yeah.
serpentine. Just-
don't worry. You have a mechanism, a mechanical creature to take the damage for you. It'll be great. That's
yeah.
my Discord will riot.
I
if you kill Tim.
right. I know there is a lot of people who would murder me while that happens.
Shout out to my Discord.
Yes.
Hi.
There's Discord. What's up?
What's
had-
up?
I am apparently an appellate judge of the 69th Court of Appeals in general chat.
Yeah, they had like a whole courtroom thing the other night,
It was amazing.
and I don't know what the fuck's going on
That's
in there.
incredible.
But the point is that we have a chat just for this show in my Discord, and everyone loves Tim a lot, as they should.
Mhm.
Yep.
So,
Because she's the best.
That's right.
yeah.
Who is this? Enigmanaut. Sorry. Enigmanaut. Oh, that's right. Enigmanaut. There we go. Have any of you read Kings of the Wild? It's pretty much a D&D campaign written as a book. I have never heard of it.
What's a book?
Yeah, I don't read.
Yeah, I historically,
Never
I
learned.
don't have any books. I
That's for
do
reading.
not.
Press X.
Yeah,
to
no,
doubt.
Zoe. Yeah.
I mean,
Whenever
Zoe
you say
has
100-year-old
no book.
dictionary.
Yeah, Zoe is
I
like
have
2
no
steps shy
books.
of being made of book.
I have no books, and if I did, they would all be new, and none of them would be old. I'm
I can
very good at
see
lying.
them in your backdrop right now.
Oh no!
No. Those
The
are
chat
just
can't
those
see it
are
though.
disguised.
Small
like
boxes
that. You know.
that I have on a shelf. I don't think the stream can see them
No.
because the sides of our cameras are cut off, but I can see them.
Yeah.
I see them in our video chat. I see them.
Any other questions from the cast? To the cast?
What are we gonna do?
Ron. So, like,
See.
Vernon. Is he, like, evil, or is he aware of what's going on and is complicit in it, or is he just unaware? Feel free to not answer because that is like a big character.
Yeah, that's
know.
kind of a big character
Okay.
thing. And also, I don't really know. Like, I have an idea, like where I want to go with him, but it's like, I don't know. I have no idea how fucked up he's been in the past.
Right.
I love
Yeah.
Vernon. I think
Yeah.
Vernon is great.
A lot like Rat
I
Earther,
think it's-
Vernon, Ron, and I have been working with together to make sure Vernon has an interesting story that even Ron is unaware of portions of, because it's interesting for Ron to play that way.
It's also kind of in character, but we'll
Yeah.
not talk about that.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. For instance, every time we go to a new place, I roll a die. I see if Vernon has been there pulling a con before, because the both of
Yeah,
us just don't
he's
know.
Like,
Yeah.
this place
Like-
looks familiar. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. This is where I tried to sell them the monorail.
Yeah, that thing with the teacher, where he was being a teacher for a con,
Uh-huh.
entirely ad libbed. I was like, I need something, a reason for Vernon to know this thing because he should know this thing, and
Yeah.
good reason.
And then he that was the first thing that radicalized him,
Mhm.
was realizing how poorly adjunct professors are paid.
Love it.
These are the people in charge of our children's education. What is going on here?
But yeah, what are we gonna do? Jeez, gang, gee willikers. Seems to be several mysteries afoot.
We have to resolve that cliffhanger. I'm not gonna be here for the next session.
We maybe well, how about we try to get the session a week earlier, and see if we can't solve it that way. We'll see what can happen. If too many of us are out again, maybe we won't move it, but we'll see. I bet you poor Mildred will still be out of it. It depends on how fast they get their place cleaned up, or if they have time afterwards, because now they'll have a backlog of stuff that they're doing. So we'll see. Right. But also, like,
what they should do is they should
Yeah.
have me come up while I'm like kind of in the situation I'm in, and then I'll help them out, and you know, I'll probably mess everything up along the way, but I'll be there as moral
Right.
support.
yeah,
Just drink all the basement water.
just
Yeah,
drink it. That's how
exactly.
you do it.
Look,
I mean,
I
the-
play a crab on a stream, so I'm pretty sure I can do this in character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what are the Calamity artist is asking? What are everyone's alignments? I assume it's characters. However,
Chaotic good.
yeah, makes sense.
Emery's probably. I feel like she's probably true neutral, honestly. Maybe.
I think you're
mean,
a little too good for that.
Maybe like neutral good. She's like
Yeah.
towing the line between the two, I think.
Yeah.
I don't actually see where that would be on mine.
I don't know if we filled it out for Vernon. First of all, we don't tend to play with alignments anyway because it was a weird system to begin with. But
It's a little
Oh really? Oh, I have him as chaotic good.
chaotic good. I think that's a possibility for Vernon in terms of, but like that's another part of the secret truth of Vernon, right?
Yeah, I think that was the thing we set up like on the outset, and
Yeah.
like I don't think that's necessarily where he would be.
Yeah. There
Okay, but
is
what's
a
everyone-
duality to Vernon.
What's everyone's human alignments?
Yeah, what's their alignments in real life, everybody?
Ye-
Lawful good
Oh,
because I'm insufferable.
I'm also lawful good. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, I think like in real life I'm probably chaotic good as well, just because like I do kind of go with what my conscience says.
I feel like I'm chaotic good because I am a fucking force of nature. Everybody subscribe to Jay's channel if you haven't already.
Oh my god!
We hit 600
We
on
are-
the stream
we
I
are-
did the other night.
We are 360 people away from being monetized. That's it.
Woohoo!
That is a very reachable goal.
That is a very reachable goal.
And if you've
Yeah.
ever been on any of my live streams, you know how much I fucking scream about the
you
show.
do.
Yeah.
So good.
I use my powers for evil.
I mean,
And by
I
evil, I mean getting ad revenue on
Yeah.
our YouTube channel. Yay!
this is actually probably something good for the couch to talk about. We so at least Star and I, although I think the rest of us too have on the periphery talked about some little things we can do on the channel. Mostly without being monetized, it's hard for me to like make time to do stuff, but
Mhm.
I want to do shorts. We're editing together a bunch of the stuff I have made for D&D 5e, like one shots and items and stuff like that. And we're gonna probably put them on the Ko-Fi store for anyone who wants to buy them. And eventually merch, obviously, but that'll be down the line. I obviously Star has railed that she wants a little standee, a little acrylic standee of Emery to hang on her desk. But
I
like,
do.
I want like a Sparks plush and like I don't know, yeah, and like a scarf that says that has necromancers across it would be really fun.
See, I would settle for like a little die cast Sparks.
Yeah.
Or even like 3D printed Sparks.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah,
you
I-
could just buy me like a little crab thing, and I'd be pretty satisfied with it. Like, I don't,
Right.
nothing special needs to be made.
I mean, my thing is, I was talking about this on a stream I did the other day, but for those who do not know, I have an art business on the side. It is currently my main source of income is through that. It's why I'm not going to be here for our next session if it's on the right time, because I'm going to be at an anime convention peddling my wares. But like, I make stickers, I make keychains, I make little acrylic stands, I make little pins, and I don't sell original character stuff too much, but I'm just like, god damn it, I want a little acrylic standee of Emery so bad. And so we can take it as seriously as we want to, but I told everybody on my live stream that when we hit 1,000 subscribers, I am making merch of our show, god damn it. So if you want to see that happen, make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure that you get all your friends to watch the show and subscribe.
Yeah.
I will fucking do it.
Hell yeah. But yeah, that's where the sort of, in terms of growth, it's hard because like we're not doing this to make money, but at the same time, if we manage to get support, then we'll turn it into a job. You know,
It
like,
opens up more things that we can
yeah,
do.
we definitely,
and like
yeah,
it makes things easier. It makes it more justifiable to spend time on it doing those extra things if there are going to be some sort of like returns from it aside from haha made a cool thing. Because unfortunately we are all adults and slaves to capitalism.
yeah. Like we want to do more stories, for instance. We'd love to do like even story videos and or like and other playing in other game systems and stuff like that. But that requires us to spend more time, and therefore we've got to justify that, right? So
Yeah,
that's the way it be.
it's tricky. But I mean that's why I've been going
game.
so gung-ho about like trying to get the YouTube channel monetized, because like I remember when I first hit like my first 1,000 subs, I wasn't making a lot from ad revenue, but I was making like $50 a month, and that's enough to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Bringing us back to what we were doing here, Med and Math asked, is it hard to edit out alignment from the mechanics? No. Alignment has and since AD&D, alignment has just been a tacked on mechanic. It hasn't meant anything. It has been an acting prompt. That's all. And so like it's not necessary at all. And you'll see when we actually do start playing in other systems, like I really want to run us up through a Blades in the Dark thing when I finally get my head around it. A person's morality is based on what they do and what their goals are, right? And what they hold to be sacrosanct to themselves. And so playing in that way is easier, and D&D is drifting towards that. The problem is they're fighting like 50 plus years of random bullshit from various racist creators. So like there's a lot of eugenics they gotta bake out of their system. There's a lot of stuff. The only thing they have going for them right now is that they are the biggest name in town, and so yeah. So that's I will rant forever about why D&D is bad and we need to start branching out to more systems. And yet here I am with a show based on basements and big lizards.
I'm telling you, Basements and Big Lizards has nothing to do with D&D. It's a completely separate system that just happens to have the same rules.
Yep. I am 100%
it's also not
down.
Pathfinder.
Also not Pathfinder, right? Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. I'm going to give the audience maybe another 5 minutes to ask their questions if they have any specifically to the last couple episodes or this episode or whatever. Is there anything that we want to like just talk about in general, like kind of like the merch thing? Like, is there anything we were thinking about in terms of what we were planning on doing, or?
Well, I want to make. Here we go. You got me all revved up. Okay,
yeah,
so
let's go.
I definitely, maybe probably the easiest and first thing I want to do is I want to make like some sort of like probably 11 by 17 little poster print that I can also print at like a mini size with all the characters on it and some hints and some stuff, maybe a volcano in the background, maybe sneak a llama into it. I don't know, but I want to do that so that I can have that on my print wall when I sell at conventions, and then people can be like, what's that print from? And I can be like, I'm so glad you asked. I would personally like to make business cards for the show.
Yay.
Just get like a couple printed, hand them out at events, because I have a podcast that caters to the anime crowd. I won't pimp it here, but Idle Days Pod on YouTube. You can go check that out if they're interested in idle anime at all. And hearing the sound of my voice, I don't know. But I hand out business cards for the show at conventions. And there's a lot of fucking D&D nerds at conventions. And so I'm thinking I might get business cards for the show made and start passing those out and do that kind of thing. And then I can also be like, yeah, so if you're interested, here's a card for the show. It's got a QR like code on it.
Hell
so you can
yeah.
scan it in your phone so you can go subscribe to the channel. Star's business brain has been activated. I will go forever if no one stops me. So just stop me when you have something. But as far
No, this is good content. Keep going.
as far as merch goes, prints and stickers are very easy to do because I can draw them and I can make them myself. So that would probably be the easiest thing. A print is nice because with prints, I'm trying to make more prints anyway because they're very visible when you like put them up high on the display. Also, you can fit all the characters in a single print, and then it's easy to do that way. But also, stickers, fun, cute. Original characters don't tend to sell as well, but we've got a lot of really cute designs, so I think that it could work out. I personally really want to make little acrylic standees. Just like little 3 or 4 inch, just like little desktop guys that you can have sitting on your desk. And maybe we do one like all together as a group, or maybe we do individual characters. I don't know, but I know it would be cute. And I want it on my desk yesterday, god damn it.
I'm good with all of this.
Business brain goes 1,000 miles an hour. See, like plushies would be more difficult because the biggest hurdle with making stuff for original IP is gonna be your minimum order quantity, your MOQ. Because if you're getting it manufactured, like stickers, I have a printer. I just go make stickers in my house. Prints, I have a printer that does wide format. I can just go print that at my house. Like anything like acrylic charms, acrylic stands, plushies, anything that has to get manufactured, you have to deal with a minimum order quantity. With plushies, it's usually prohibitively high. Like you have to order like 200, 300 of a single plushie before a manufacturer will even talk to you. With my acrylic manufacturer, they have a minimum order quantity of 10 per design.
Easier.
So much easier, yeah.
We can do like a trial run based on that, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, stickers are the easiest. Prints are also very easy. Which is why I usually start with stickers. I'm destroying my desk, but yeah, like plushies are more difficult.
Yeah.
But maybe eventually we can delve into that. There's also the option of like making an actual plushie that is shaped like Sparks would be one thing. But another thing we could do is I've made like pillow plushies in the past where it's just you print a design on a nice soft piece of fabric and you make just like a little hug-sized pillow. And those, the minimum order quantity is like 3. So we could easily do those.
Yes. We get like a picture of Sparks with his horns and a little halo or something.
Yeah. We print it onto a pillow and sell it.
We're gonna have him just sitting there being like, all will be well.
I'm a widow doggo. I'm a widow wobot doggo.
I love my good boy.
Yeah, I could definitely see a lot of plushies like made out of Tim's pets and whatnot.
Yes.
Well, okay, gang. No other real questions have been had, and I love leaving things on a cliffhanger. So why don't we pimp our stuff and then log out for the day? Ron. Where can they find you?
You can find me just about everywhere at Megaron TV. I am on Blue Sky even at Megaron.
That's right.
Whatever.com. And also I'm going to be starting a new podcast. Probably going to start posting them in August, if not in the end of July. It's called Just a Little Guy. And it's going to be about building monsters with my friends. And some of the people here, specifically all the people here, are going to be on it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. That's all I got.
Hell yeah. Zoe.
Whew, I was not expecting it to be me. You can find me on YouTube at Zoe B. Just type in Zoe B in the search bar and you'll find me. Yeah. I have a video coming out, I don't know, next week sometime. I'm currently editing it, but we'll see how that goes. It's big.
Zoe has worked very hard. You should all go watch it.
When it's out, yes. Yeah. So like wait like 4 days and then go check the channel and then check it every like 6 hours after that. But if you want to get videos early, if you want to get them 24 hours early, you can join my Patreon, which is linked in my channel stuff. You'll find it if you're there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Incidentally, before I move on to start, all of our links are also on what's left of us.card with 2rs.co. That's our main site. So if you're ever wondering,
all that's linked in the description.
Yeah. So if any of you are wondering, like, oh man, I didn't hear where their Ko-Fi is, or I didn't hear where Ron's Patreon is specifically, you can always duck into card.co. There is what's left of us.card.co, and you can jump down to the characters Doratus Personae area, and then our links are there. That would be Star. Star's the one who's left.
Hey, hi. So my main thing is I have too many things. I have my webcomic, which is currently on hiatus, but will be returning in July. So now is a good time to get caught up on that. castoff-comic.com, baby. I am also on YouTube at The Starfish Face. I post videos every other week, just like little longer format, like weird story time videos. And I've also been posting a lot of shorts recently because I got content brain.
Yeah.
And then like I just went off on a big old merch tangent. So my store is thestarfishface.com. And if we ever do merch, that's probably where it's going to be hosted, because I imagine I will be in charge of fulfilling that as well. So yay. I'm the Starfish Face everywhere, basically. Yippee-ki-yay.
All right. And I am the Jakecorn. You have found me. This is my channel. Hi. If you are watching either on Twitch or YouTube, you have found basically all my content. I do have another channel where I game, but I haven't used it in a very long time because I haven't had the time to stream my own content in quite a while. Yeah, yeah, all of my stuff is here. This is what I do. I play games with my friends and I help them with their stuff because it's what I want. So if you want to support me at all, just support this production. Our Ko-Fi is listed down below, kofi.com/the Jcorn, I believe. And if you want to do anything else, word of mouth, spread. If we get it to 1,000, then you all won't need to go to our Ko-Fi. You know, and that's that. At some point soon-ish, I'm going to be getting into DMing a little bit more professionally, if I have the time for it. So be on the lookout for links. That probably on like Start Playing or something like that, if any of you want me to DM you for like a one-shot or something. And that's really about it, I think. I think that's all. I'm pretty sure. All right, I think that's it. We've done our thing.
Woo!
For sure. Yeah, stay tuned. We might be moving the next episode up a week if we can get some verifications from the other people. If not, it will be on the 28th of July, and if it is bumped up, it will be the 21st of July. So be prepared.
Dun, dun, dun.
And aside from that, I hope everyone has a very good evening, and thank you all very much for watching us tell our stories. It's been a pleasure. Say good night, everybody.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Bye.